Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Playday 3 here for Europe Pro League. And of course, we're starting off with our day with a couple fantastic games. I am Rassam, most thematic Finnish. Of course, with me is the ever so charming Devin Emzo Becker. It's a new word today.
Thank you.
so
complimentary.
It's only the truth, Devin. But we're getting ready for a fantastic day today as we get to see our world champions, Penta, playing it again against Millennium. But let's take a look at our bracket so far to recap what has happened with our group. Starting off, of course, with Group A. Penta Sports taking it 2-0 versus Market. Very convincing a couple weeks ago. Of course, they move on to the winner's match.
Also very unsurprising.
Yes, honestly, kind of yes. Oplon versus Millennium. Millennium really was convincing as well in their game, especially on that second map, Chalet, what they're playing on. They get 2-0 total against Oplon, and they move on to play against Penta Sports. In our first matchup, of course, the second will be Market versus Oplon.
Yeah, this season it's really hard to say who's the contender against Penta, because usually that's Ents. Ents went down pretty hard, and Millennium actually showing pretty strong this season. I mean, Oplon wasn't necessarily the top contender, but...
All right, let's take us through Group B here to just remind you what happened the last week, and that's what you were talking about. Of course, Game 1 was Digital Chaos versus Vitality. 100% recommend everybody to go back and watch that game, especially Cafe. It was a bit hectic. The first two maps were very analytical, but Cafe, the third one, was absolutely insane. That did go the way of Digital Chaos. Then NC Sports playing against 1UP, and the Finns, the current Pro League champions, falling short against the German lineup of 1UP. And of course, we have Digital Chaos versus 1UP, and then Vitality versus Ents playing next week. It's very odd to say, but Ents might actually drop.
Yeah, so far 1UP looking like one of the strongest contenders this time. I mean, I'd say it's a big surprise, but they did perform pretty well at Invitationals, and they've been showing strength. And that was
without Chaos.
Without Chaos, with the coach Lazzo playing as and Chaos's roles. And it was very low KD for him. He was just utility.
I think there's only one conclusion that can be drawn. Chaos was a problem. I guess we have to say it at this point. That was the main problem.
It was the dab.
It was the dabbing, that's for sure. It's always illegal to do this here. But that was a bit of a recap of what we had in our first groups. Maybe we can take a look at our schedule. No, we don't have that. We already showed that before. Doing Melosh, professional, by the way. But we're getting ready for our matchup. Of course, we are starting off with Penta versus Millennium. So let's head into an interview with the one and only. It's Fabian Helston. What's up, Fabian?
Not much, just waiting.
Just waiting to get ready in-game. Well, Fabian, you've had an extremely convincing game versus Market last week. What is, in your mind, the strongest part of the way that Penta plays right now, other than maybe being very flexible and switching operators whenever it's needed?
I mean, it doesn't really matter how our team plays, because we play Lion, we press 4 and we sprint and we kill people. That's how the game works right now.
Fair point. Speaking of which, have you had the time to test out? I know you're very busy, of course. You know, you have to make some food, I guess, at some point during the day, unless you're ordering something. But have you had some time to actually get on the TTS and try out the changes that are coming up soon?
I haven't. Right now, they don't really matter to me, because we don't play with that right now. We play what we have.
Very, very good. Very good. How's Shate been playing out for the team? He played very, very well during Six Invitational. Are there any communication problems that are present within the team, or is just everybody, wrapped up and ready to go with the current mentality of the team?
I mean, there isn't that much of a problem. It's, as I said, you press 4 and sprint, so it's not that rough to play the current meta. You don't need much communication. It's just about fragging power. So, I mean,
yeah, if you can drop, how many frags did you get last game? That was over a dozen, right? If you can do it, literally anybody can. So there is a point of view in there. Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much, Fabian, for that delightful interview, and good luck in your game. I'd like to say anything to your fans out there.
Well, I hope they have a good game to watch. That's pretty much it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
What a delightful interview subject Fabian is.
Oh, yes. There's a reason why he's a good friend of mine. But let's go through the rosters here and check out what Penta are fielding, because if you don't know who these guys are, what are you even doing? These are the world champions right now. Pengu, Fabian, Shate, Goga, and Jonas. There's really no introductions to be had. 19 kills last game. 3.17 KD. The only person that's done this well was a couple seasons ago with Shate when he played the fantastic mirror that would ace once every map.
Yeah, and Pangu as well, the 2.4. I mean, it's funny to laugh at what Fabian said, but with his KD, he is kind of, I guess, proving his point in that sense of just...
Don't say that. Don't give him positive reinforcement.
I don't want to, but 3.17. I mean, come on. Poor Junis, though. Obviously, Fabian's stealing a lot.
Stealing all the kills. Just,
but
at least Jonas has still left his double donuts in Katowice. So right now,
let's give him points for accuracy. Him and Goga, though, over 70% accuracy for headshots.
Jonas,
so.
He's been relatively successful in the Zofia. Sometimes he'll have worse rounds, to say the least. But Goga has always been one of the best Thormites to have, really, on your team, even though Penta just switches players around.
Yeah, and the only roster change they've had in a while was Shate, and he fit in just fine.
Yeah.
So that's been working out.
Okay. Well, that is pretty much all we've got here for Penta Sports as we're getting ready for our second interview. It's unsurprising how well these guys have been playing. It's not like looking objectively at the match that they played against Mocket, you can't say that there was anything that would have broken Penta during that match.
Yeah.
So obviously, it's not that, oh, Mocket are a terrible team, whatever. Some people just can't get that through their minds. Like, no, they lost versus literally the best team and best lineup in the world. There's no shame in that.
As you point out, their ability to play different operators speaks to their ability to adapt to playing different operators, which is, I think, really the litmus test for teams this season. Can you just adapt as quick as possible? ENCE could not. You saw what happened. 1UP was a little more prepared to. Clearly capitalized on it. Some teams are ready to, some teams are just not, and they're just getting washed out super fast.
All right, well, let's take a quick look at their opponents as we just have a bit of an interview to do with Monsieur Leven. We're starting. Bonsoir. Hello, Gael. How are you?
Hello, I'm fine, and you?
I'm okay. I'm just disappointed that there is no yogurts behind you like last time that was flexing around at the team house. But regardless, so let's go through this. You guys had a very convincing game. This is a different millennium than what we've been used to since the summer after Gamescom. There obviously have been roster changes. There've been change in the mentality of the team. What do you attribute the win versus Oplon mostly to? What kind of change?
The change was we were very confident. We played more and more and more than ever after our game versus Oplon. And we know we had a very good staff with one analyst and one coach who made a lot of work and a lot of anti-stratting. So I think that's a point with Oplon. And I like to add that anyone in the team can trust anyone, and that's a very important point in communication and teamwork.
It very much is apparent the way that the things have changed. It's definitely a different team than what we used to seeing before. And of course, the flashy plays still remain. We'll look back at map 2 when you guys played Chalet. That was an extremely entertaining map, to say the least. But now, fast forward into Pro League, you're facing off against Penta. They always have been one of the best teams to really try and take the whole thing. Now you're playing against them in the qualifiers. What's the change that you've needed to do to be able to crack that egg that so far no one has been able to crack since Brazil?
So we prepared a lot on our game. Our staff focus on them, but player focus on the team. I think to have our chance, we have to be confident, to trust us, and we don't have to be afraid because it's Penta against us. We just have to play our game, and I think if we play our best level, we had some chance to beat them.
Okay, let's see. It would be very entertaining, that's for sure. Seeing them knock down a peg, after all these wins. But would you like to say anything to your fans out there that are watching Livin?
I will thank all our fans, all our support, all our staff too, who don't have any knowledge in the community. So thank you, Crapple and Void. And that's it. Yeah, thanks Reziak for the t-shirt.
Respect the Photoshop god. How can we ever forget him, right? Well, thank you very much, Livin, for the interview. Good luck in your game, and hopefully we get to see a great matchup from Millennium.
Thank you.
It was interesting to hear all that about the coach and the analyst being a big part of their change, as well as the trust in the team, because they're a team who are playing a lot stronger now, and it's good to know there are some reasons behind that. It's not just, oh, we've been practicing. It's
Capel has brought quite a bit to the team, of course,
Yeah.
part of their analysis team, and this is Millennium. This is the new Millennium that we have. Rise, Renshiro, Yogurt, Higgs, and, of course, Livin.
Yeah, definitely, I mean, a good core there, and then they've really improved on with who they've brought on board. It's, I would say, like a new Millennium for them in terms of compared to previous seasons where we'd seen them really struggle in just even taking on some of the easier teams in terms of like seeding and stuff like that. It's still going to be hard, but hopefully their coach analyst is working really hard on making sure they counter Penta. It sounded like they were a little more focused on playing as a team, but maybe that's just due to the difficulty of counter-strat.
Honestly, yeah, that's exactly it. How do you counter-strat a team that will switch which players playing which operator depending on every single one of the bomb locations that they're playing, depending on the map? So it's very difficult to adapt, but let's see overall how EU has been setting up their operators, starting off with the attack. And no surprise there, it's our homeboy Lion with 98.6%, Habana right after, and Thermite on the 42%, Atrid above. Ashton played quite a bit for Europe, as well as IQ.
Maybe more so than some of the other regions who've been picking up Zofia instead and kind of mixing up this pool, or Blitz, for example. They don't seem to be as keen on Blitz in Europe for whatever reason. Same maybe as much for North America.
Then again, Latin America kind of starts to force the Blitz a bit. You know, there's definitely arguments to be made in one part or the other. IQ has definitely been
It's interesting to see IQ move up when there's not necessarily new gadgets for IQ to find that we're seeing. Because, for example, Ella's dropped off. Legion was already there before. And you're not seeing Capcan, for example, showing up all the time. I mean, we did see him a little bit, but it's just, for whatever reason, they're just finding a lot more utility in it now.
It's probably because of the quality of life change before you push onto a site, because we've seen the last 30 seconds where things actually happen. But let's take a look at the defenders to see what Europe is fielding so far. Mira and Smoke, it's been very much the same everywhere else, but we see a lot higher percentages for the defenders here with Jaeger and Mute overtaking Bandit. It's definitely a thing here in the European meta, whereas in other regions you'll see one or the other. Sometimes, rarely, you'll see a Mute and a Bandit picked together, but it's not what's been happening most of the time.
I guess here we're seeing the justification for IQ with Valkyrie being such a high pick rate for Europe as well. They definitely value having a lot more intelligence around the site in terms of being able to counter pushes, which is a good thing to have in this aggressive meta. So,
yeah, it definitely aids, as you say, getting information or where your attackers are setting up.
Well, it allows defenders to play more aggressive too, which is something we've been seeing a lot
Which is why you've been seeing the IQ as well. So there's so many things that are just counter-stratting one part or the other. It's just the mind game and how you play with it. But we always value your opinion, so let's see what you picked in the community vote. But, that's for later. Okay. All right. Milos, 10 out of 10 today, that's for sure.
All right.
Millennium versus Penta Sports. Let's see. Okay, so Millennium take out Oregon, Bank, and Border. Unsurprising there. Chalet, Clubhouse, Skyscraper leaves us with Coastline, Consulate, and Cafe. Honestly, Millennium can definitely push Penta all the way through on Cafe. It just depends on how they do it.
They've had a good Cafe in the past.
Yeah, but you get Coastline and Consulate. Those are definitely two maps that Penta Sports have had good times.
Millennium as well had also had a good history on Coastline in the past. But it seemed like they've not been as willing to play it this season as they had banned it previously. But for whatever reason, they let it through so they could get Cafe and Consulate. Again, though, as we always say, don't bring Penta to Consulate. However, Millennium have also had a good Consulate, so all of these maps are ones Millennium in the past have played somewhat successfully against other teams, even in seasons where they were struggling.
Yeah.
The meta is very different now, so there are big changes, not to mention roster changes, and it's against Penta, but at the same time, like, at least this bodes well for Penta or Millennium having a chance here.
Yeah. And I agree with Millennium's pick on Cafe. Penta has historically come out and said, you know
what?
They
banned it last
Yeah, they'll ban it as many times as they can. It slipped in with the best of 5 Final at 6 Invitational, of course, and we saw how that went. But
yeah,
it's definitely a map that Penta vocally say, we do not like to play this. So
yeah,
it goes in their way. And we saw how close it got on its 6th Invitational.
Yeah.
They brought it back, but it was a bit too close for comfort.
It feels like Penta basically traded Cafe for Consulate. They said, we're going to get Consulate. We'll let you have one, but we're also taking Coastline.
It is.
So I think they came out in the advantage of a best of 3, but they were already just based off the flexibility. But
maybe they prepared something for Cafe.
I mean, I almost hope they don't have something good prepared, because I would like to see Millennium take this to 3 maps. And if they could take Cafe, there's a much stronger chance of that.
All right. Well, let's see what you guys think about this to see if it will be as close as Devin is calling it, and not at all. No, 78% to 22.
I mean, 22% for a matchup against Penta. There's some faith there. I'm guessing that a lot of that's the French voting in favor of Millennium, just the regional support that they get.
The regional. I mean, honestly, Millennium right now are definitely on top of everything. But let's get ready to go as we start off with map number 1. We head into the frozen side of Moscow. This is Cafe Dostoyevsky, map number 1 in this best of 3 series, and it's of course our world champions Penta Sports facing off against Millennium, arguably one of the best teams in France and one of the top in Europe, that's for sure.
Now they are going to be going with the Blackbeard, interestingly, on this attack, and as well as Ash. They are kind of playing a bit to the picks that we'd seen in terms of like IQ and Ash being high picks for this region, Haban as well. Blackbeard is kind of a mixed bag in terms of attacking this bomb site. We have seen it sometimes, especially from people like Redeemer they're big Blackbeard fans on attack and stuff like that. But it really depends on how you use him. There are some good windows to repel with him, for example, on both sides of the top floor, as well as even potentially using him to peek the skylight, so it's not a bad choice. But Penta are going to have those black eyes to be able to get some idea where the attackers are attacking from. However, this is a hard bomb site to successfully have black eyes on, because we see a lot of teams that will do IQ and a Thatcher up top, but Millennium, not playing to the current meta of doing that, are bringing an IQ without Thatcher, so they might be able to see that there's a lot of cameras on the top floor and not be able to do anything about them. So that's given Junos a nice advantage on this defense here, because they're going to get a lot of intel that you can't necessarily tell as easily from the top whether or not you're seeing like black eyes and stuff like that, especially with the distance. So
this is what I've been seeing, a lot more focus on reading room. And reading room especially. You will fight beyond that. You will take control of the stairs.
Map now.
Yeah, basically, it's very interesting to see how things have changed within such a small time frame. But say Millennium are in the attack, and they'll be bringing the IQ, of course, very good to counter any setups from Jonas. Historically speaking, we used to see Goga going a lot more on the IQ and Jonas playing a bandit most of the time. But it's a change. Of course, you have to adapt. You change different things, and of course, they might just be using a couple of C4s here to try and play from below, which is something.
A Pulse, Valkyrie, and a Mira. There's likely some C4 on board.
Now, when you see, of course, the Pulse, that's Fabian downstairs. Jonas sitting in the cigar lounge and hasn't been able to find anybody's. Yogurts has dropped in with his drone. It'll get taken out immediately, and of course, Lion has become so strong in this push wrench here, though. The SR-25 gets the first pick here. And that's a smoke.
That's where I like to see the Blackbeard on, is that A window tends to be a lot more effective because they have usually the walls open there. Fabian, though, trades it back on Hicks quickly, and that is
Hibana. Damn.
Important.
Okay.
See, you lose the smoke, you lose the Hibana, now we're down to dogfights.
That is pretty huge now. It might force a drop from Millennium onto the site. As you see, with no hard destruction, they have to maneuver through the closed-up doors. And with the way that Penta have reinforced, yeah, that's going to be a lot more difficult. Now, of course...
Ooh, the long angle, though.
That's a long angle. Let's see, opening. Just open up Cigar and have a close angle for any defender to play behind the mirror window. But that's why you have the Blackbeard in this position.
That's why I like him on that side, because there's a lot of times they open that up to you. They're not going to reinforce it most of the time because they want that same accessibility.
Cuts off rotations.
Yep.
It's a very important position to have, definitely underplayed.
Now, important that Rise is checking out pillars there, because a lot of the reason you hold Reading Room is partially to be able to fight in pillars later, and you see IQ getting caught out. Now, of course, IQ is the counter to Pulse, so interestingly, the C4 just too far away, but that was a close call. Would have been interesting to get his own counter, but IQ could be looking for him here, but too afraid of a run out to do it right now. Going to go for a grenade instead.
They might be using Yansir here to cover as well, but he's still looking into the window. They don't know where they might get pushed. And the problem is here, if Fabian keeps using his heartbeat detector, then he will get spotted by the IQ.
You know, there's not necessarily good wallbang angle for him for that, though. He needs to get inside, and that's a little bit what Fabian's counting on.
Now Livin will be pushing in, and that is a first breaching round. But look at that, 25 seconds on the clock, and finally an E1D has been played with. Fabian gets one, but Livin will get the frag. Yogurts is still from below, but they still have to drop in. The diffuser is down on the floor. They still need to pick it up before they go, and Shate will definitely try to make their life a lot harder. The C4 will miss his Yogurts. Gets the hit from behind. Less than 10 seconds on the clock. Now the Blackbeard comes in, but Jonas will pick up the kill. He is detected by the E1D and gets shot from the side. But Goga will try to rotate back on the side. The Deagle has been popped up here by the Lion, but can't get the kill. Livin will get one, but the diffuser is nowhere near the site. And that'll just be a win through time. What is happening here? French teams have been having a big problem with understanding that this time is limited. It is one of your many resources in the round, and if you don't use it correctly, you'll just end up losing rounds for free.
Must just be a coordination thing in terms of them wanting to coordinate their attacks a little bit better.
They lost to Habana still, but
they did have some good pinches, though. They had some good trades in terms of that, and that is down to a little bit to intelligence. But it was surprising to see Penta getting marked twice on the EE1Ds, playing so aggressive. You saw, for example, Pulse Fabian getting picked off because of that. And then you saw upstairs as well, from the Valkyrie, just Junas getting picked off. It's, I don't know, they were a little... I felt like that was a warm-up round for both teams.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like their gunfights were as on point as we're used to seeing from either of these guys.
100%.
But it was, again, the warm-up round, maybe the first couple rounds here are going to be like that. We are going to see a Glaz here from Junas, something I feel like he's sometimes been struggling with. But we are going to see Pengu on the Montaigne, something we saw, for example, Evil Geniuses do quite a bit here. It is a good strategy overall. Like, you definitely want to take advantage of it. His ability to push into Piano and then push subsequently into the White Hallway is very aggressive and really puts teams off and puts a lot of pressure on people trying to hold from the bathrooms. So I definitely agree with it. They are not going to have an IQ to be able to spot that camera out here, but I don't know if that's really what they're concerned about.
Yeah.
They're not pushing that same way. They're going aggressively inside with the Montaigne.
Penta is very well known for relying on the IQ sometimes on some of the maps that we see, especially Consulate.
Yeah,
not the case
Goga
here. It's now going to be the focus on Montaigne. We've seen Monty being so important in a push into the side hallway leading from Cigar because you can't get wallbang or shot from below. So that basically eliminates all of the setups that's been happening. EG played this a very similar way of doing this, and it definitely worked out fine for them.
Junas is spending a lot of time. I'm not sure if he's just looking for black eyes or he's waiting for some kind of run out, but he's definitely over-preparing, I would say. Although the drone hole actually being watched by Pulse means if he tries to rappel up, he's got to be careful about it. But he could work it as well. As a Glaz, he does a lot more damage to that drone hole than Pulse does on the ump. So here we go, some droning going on. They have some idea what's going on the stairs, getting ready for that push onto the red stairwell where they're going to have the Montaigne drop and go for a push into Piano. But Yogurt's playing over on A. And
I like this
Shiro
double
middle.
mirror window.
Yeah, you can see the
I have to highlight a mirror window literally every single round. It really is a disease.
No Twitch or anything as well to be able to open that, because that could be really nice crossfire. If you could open both of those.
And Twitch hasn't really been played much against any team in any region except for Latin America, which is very odd. But they're even trying to push players out of reading room using Pengu's Monty.
He's playing in the middle, which is a bit different. Playing with a Ying as well means this is going to be very aggressive, and unfortunately for Alive, he's not going to be able to escape
but
that.
do they spot the second player? That's going to be up to Jonas here to find him, and he will get the second one, though, from the hatch. They'll get, they'll down him, but they won't be able to take him out, so that's definitely going to be a pickup there. You see the Monty coming in, can't get the hit. There's not a second impact to throw in, and Pengu will be able to get a res up on Jonas. Well, now there's quite a bit of time, a minute 5. Rise unable to get any hit along the outside here, as the backstairs have been taken by Millennium. They haven't been able to do much with that, though. And, well, Jonas, all he's got to do now is just set up in the back, and they can use him to force the defenders to stay in the back of Fridge with Shate's Lion popping the E1D. And you'll have, of course, the Monty rushing up front. And that's exactly what they're going to try to do. Goga will get a kill. Renshiro trying to spray in, but all he's hitting is the Montaigne, and they can't really do much against that.
5 players alive against 2 here with 29 seconds. This is looking like Penta have this pretty much in the bag. They can land their shots.
Here we go. Pengu will get one, and the Vector will trade the second one. They're taking down Goga, but that's not the end of the world. They already used up everything that they needed, but Rise will make one happen, not the second. Shate and, of course, Pengu on the Monte will push in and get the final kill. That is a pretty sweet Valk cam spot, actually.
Yeah. Nearly a flawless round if Rise hadn't got that one kill towards the end there. But Penta playing a lot stronger that round. It was interesting to see him clear out the middle floor first before going upstairs. I thought that was a little smart, and then making sure that, as you were talking about the importance of reading room, so they were taking advantage of that to just get extra roam clear and take more people off the board, knowing, hey, we can push this fairly safely with a Montaigne combined with a Glaz and just push around aggressively. But I don't think they were expecting the angle from above that you had, I believe it was Yogurts on from the Legion was actually something that they were not counting on when pushing that, and that was a smart adaptation. Fortunately for him, the line got popped as well, exposing him.
And that's the thing. If the Glaz pushed in with the Monty, but you still had the Lion upstairs, and that's the thing. How do you counter the Montagne? Well, you have to maneuver around him to be able to take him out.
Unfortunately for him, he has a little bit more head shield than, say, someone like Blitz, where his head's a little more
exactly why it's
exposed,
the pick. It's not about the kills with the Montagne. It is about forcing your opponents into a spot where they cannot counter you without flanking. But since the flanks are held by Skylight with the Lion, well, Shate in this case that was staying upstairs, you're going to die anyways. So it's just a pinch. And even then, Millennium lost 2 of their players early on, and that's really what hurt them.
Now, I mean, had he been able to get the kill onto Glaz, it definitely would have been a good start, because Glaz was still a problem later on. But, you know, it is only 2 rounds in, but Penta won both those rounds, and they are definitely at the advantage on the one map that we thought Millennium had the best shot at here. But some of these have been a little, well, I would say just the first one was a little bit close. That second one definitely was not close. But they are setting up now down on the second bomb site because they won the top floor. They have to go down to mining, dining, or I suppose they could go bakery if they wanted to really just meme this up, I suppose. But they are going to be bringing a different attack lineup as well as a different defensive lineup. You're going to see the Buck this time as well. You're going to see Castle out from Goga to be able to set up a little more articulation to how they defend downstairs, reinforcing or rerouting them. But Blackbeard's still going to play basically the same way on the top floor. They still need to take it. Just like on border, you need to take that top floor. Shooting up some of those. A little bit of debris there to give himself a better angle. Fortunately, that is not going to do a whole lot for him. But Goga at least pressured off here.
Oh, nicely done from Rise. He takes so much damage. One could argue, is it worth resetting at this point? But this is a great spot for the IQ to just sit in, because now with the Blackbeard pinching from the other side, looking into the bar, well, the rotations have to be forced into red stairs. And that's not going to be an easy part here. But Jonas gets the headshot. And this will make the castle barricades a lot more difficult to deal with. Sure, Rise still has grenades to play with, but...
Well, luckily there's Yogurts as well with grenades, so they're definitely going to need to take advantage of the grenades that are available to be able to clear those. If they want to clear them, I suppose they could open up some more angles from above and things like that with Buck, but Fabian going to make it a lot harder to do so as he takes off Blackbeard as well. That's a lot of coverage gone. They're going to really depend on having to actually play inside now, as they're not going to have as much coverage from outside. But then still Hicks staying outside as Habana not being effective at the moment. And they're losing a lot of time as Penta's burning it up upstairs. They're not going to have a lot to be able to do downstairs if this keeps working.
C4 is going to get thrown in. Jonas won't get the frag as he looks down into the fridge, and he spots the side of the head here. Sprays right into the Buck, and Yogurts is solo on HP, but same for Jonas now. Yogurts might just push into him. He does have a grenade to throw around. A couple of them even. But it won't be bouncing it just yet. He's pushing in very, very slowly, but Jonas is set right behind the car here, but he's going to get rushed. Yogurts will get one, but he's going to get dropped. And Rise will be forced to pick up Yogurts. At least that was not a trade. But look at the amount of time that is burned. 35 seconds left.
Well, it is down to Penta to delay that on 3v3 here, but it looks like they are getting some good progress on the attack. They're managing to open up a lot of the floor. Buck overexposing himself to Shate, though. That is going to be a big problem because Buck was a big part of that attack from above. They still have potentially some nades on Rise. That's the last X-Cairo, but it doesn't matter. Fabian takes him down anyways.
Yeah, Rise very low on HP. The player that opened up the round for Millennium, unfortunately, is the last man alive, and Shate sprays him down with the Vector. A quick cleanup in Penta Sports, just knowing where to pick apart in Millennium, forcing them to lose so much time and manpower before they can even get to a place where they're set up to push onto the site.
They had so much set up downstairs that they almost didn't even need it that point, because none of the attackers could even make it that far, other than them trying to push with the Habana at the end but getting flanked.
And there wouldn't have been too much time. You're going to get flanked anyways because they can still rotate out of dining. So
Penta are playing a good balance of aggressive defense versus turtle defense. They're having some of their defenders playing a little more aggressively than others, and then some playing back and delaying. So they're really keeping them outside as much as possible, and then playing around inside to delay them for as long as possible. So by the time it comes down to a side attack, they've already lost enough people and enough time that it's just down to angles that Penta are winning. And it is now 3-0 in what it could be a clean sweep here from Penta if things keep up. But 3 rounds in, this is when people start getting the hang of it a little bit more. But Millennium on defense here, Penta with that Montaigne again. Not the best place for Millennium to be, as this has been very strong for both Penta and EG when they've used it.
Well, Hicks and the team are setting up. It's going to be interesting to see how Millennium adapt to this because, you know, Livin has been, you know, praising adaptation, praising being able to now play comfortably with his teammates. But when you're playing against a team that is so adaptable like Penta Sports, how do you do it? There's no specific parts of the map where you can say clearly, oh yeah, this was the turning point, because there's almost never a turning point. Is always going the way of our mixed EU team. It's fairly odd to look at here, but as Penta Sports push in yet again, we'll see a similar setup as before with the Monty, the Thermite, the Glaz, the Ying, and of course Shate yet again on the Lion. That is very probably going to be setting up back again on the Skylight.
Well, it's been very effective.
The Vigil play, maybe that'll be something that'll help him out in this round.
Yeah, we'll see if they can at least stay alive long enough. That's the thing, is the Vigil's got to stay alive. He's not necessarily about killing, he's there about delaying, but killing is certainly a nice bonus. He's got those impact grenades to be able to rotate around a lot, but there's not maybe as many rotate spots on this map as some others to give him that flexibility. And with Fabian down here in the bakery level, it's going to be hard for him to be able to kind of wander around freely because Fabian is going to be an aggressive killer on him if he catches him off guard. But he's going to rotate upstairs and help Pengu here. Shate, though, already starting kills off onto the Valkyrie. Hopefully all those cams got tossed out. As again, they're not running an IQ to be able to at least count.
This is what I don't understand. Why do you have the Valkyrie setting up right by the doorway at this point in the round? You have to expect that there is someone that is watching this. You can't, at least, you know, checking the cameras, realizing you can hear the player that's trying to repel from upstairs.
At least Vigil playing some smart angles in terms of, smart spots in terms of moving around on floors so they don't know where he's at, and staying alive, backing up Rise here, but some nice opening of mirror windows, and then Renshiro with a nice trade on it though, paying them back for that window getting opened. That is Candela's off the board. Now going to be relying a little bit more on the Montaigne and the Lion and Glaz here for this push, but they are starting to fall back and just burn time at this point as the Lions are not catching them off guard.
Yeah, so far they can at least force them with the E1Ds to set up behind the site, and that's
they're turtling up.
Yeah, and honestly, this plays fairly well into what Penta are preparing for because they do have a Glaz here, so the long-range play potential is definitely here. Though Yunus has not maneuvered himself yet behind his teammates, but might be able to catch off the Jaeger, and I don't know why Raj is moving through there. Shate will get one. And that's now Yogurts and the Vigil. Still alive, he sprays through the smoke, and Yogurts will get one as Livin gets 2 for his own. Goga turns it into a 1v1, but he does have the diffuser in hand. Has to wait until Yogurts rotate all the way from the VIP section. So there is a ton of time to play around with here for Goga as he sets up. The spray coming in, but he does not have an impact to get a shot through. 2 goo mines won't be able to do too much with those, and Goga's, oh my god, the Claymore set up in the most predictable spot. On red stairs.
It's red on red, though. You gotta admit that is one of the harder to see claymores.
That tapestry 100% needs to be replaced at this point.
The thing is, though, he was looking up anyway, so he was overly concerned. Well, not I would say overly, because it is absolutely something you need to be concerned about. Is above you right there. When you're walking upstairs, it's very dangerous, very hard.
He had a Valkyrie camera that was still set up.
Yeah.
On the site, they had information.
I'll still give him credit for his jump out, though, helped a lot.
Oh yeah,
100%. As well, him and Liven almost clutched that out. However, I still think Goga, being one of the best Thermite fraggers, could have had a very high chance of clutching that out, especially with the pressure.
Especially with him being set up in bar and at that point in time, he would have seen the rotation. So things were definitely going through the Penta Sports way, but now Millennium are back on the attack. 4-0 so far for the Mixed EU, and they will grab a Sophia here, Millennium. That's going to be interesting.
I mean, maybe they're deciding, you know, we don't really care so much about getting the IQ, but I mean, that is less intelligence. However, like I said before, without the Thatcher, they weren't getting the full value out of that. So.
And again, when you say less intelligence for people that might, you know, see this in a negative fashion, less intelligence means it's less intel. You don't know where the setups of Valcams are being set yet.
So I mean,
You don't really know where the pulse is being.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you meant.
yeah.
Where the pulse is being set
Yeah,
up.
that's what I meant,
Where
yeah.
he's using his heartbeat sensor. So that's basically what's been what's going on. This is why you bring that IQ.
No, they got to know they're going to be setting up a lot in reading room again, because that was a big point of contesting last time was them fighting in there. But Fabian actually, instead of playing in reading room, is going to play back and train, something we've seen a lot of pulses do as well, because they can get a lot more.
Even set up a mirror window down there, which is not something we've been seeing too much
Well,
of.
they want to aggressively defend it.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Maybe it was not super effective being used upstairs anyways with the Blackbeard in there, kind of just opening up a lot of holes in the walls and things like that. And that is unfortunate having to use that for the trapdoor, as there are, there's usually a lot of other utility you could be taking off the board with those. But with the Zofia in tow,
Honestly,
they have the extra
I
redundant.
kind of agree with using the Ash charge there.
Well, you can bring breaches on a Blackbeard, for example, to do that.
Yeah, but then again, the stun grenades would be nice, especially if you're expecting a Jaeger, so you can burn ADSs, etc.
Depends on how you're playing your strategy. Absolutely, he is using them to burn ADSs right now, so I will give you that. It is a different utility for it. It really depends on your composition, but either way, like I said, they have the Zofia, so they have the redundancy for that, and it's not really a big deal at all in terms of utility usage, which they're going to go to use right now to open up some of reading room, start pressure Shate out of there.
I don't know if they have set up any ADSs to protect the Mira downstairs.
Probably mostly upstairs, yeah.
But there definitely are quite a few soft walls that can be exploited by Rise on the Zofias.
Well, they've got the intelligence here to be able to get him out with all the droning that they've done. They know his position, they know where the windows are, they know how to play this, but all he has to do is play time on it. He doesn't have to overpeak, but he's going to anyways, because Shate being the Mira
the ADS
is.
burned through one. Not the second one, though, as he pops in, but the flash is or the concussion is a bit too far away. Shate is given time to remaneuver behind the second mirror window, as both have been used downstairs.
That's a nice angle, though, the way he's got that to be able to set up Renshiro, though. Taking down Junis is not great. Losing, again, at Valkyrie early for both these guys seems to be a pattern. They've been getting caught with the line, not doing any good as those pillars are in the way. So smart play by him staying off, but Pengu trades it on to Hicks.
Nicely done here to at least turn it into a 4 versus 3, but Pengu will get the second. And that's the Lion now out of play. Yogurt's down. Fabian still downstairs on the pulse, as well as Shate. Pengu, the only man still on, like anywhere near the sights here. C4 will get thrown out. No, not just yet.
He's waiting.
Fabian, yeah, he's just leaving it in hand. Renshiro will get at least one for himself, but the user is in the hands of Rise. And they're waiting to get more info from their teammates. C4 will get thrown in, and Fabian will get the kill on Rice. That is a cash money throw, but Livin will get the kill on Fabian. 10 seconds remaining. Shate just has to survive, but no! Livin runs in, lands the headshot. Could have turned into a victory here for Pentasports, but Millennium somehow able to find it and then dig very, very deep and find it within them to land the final kill.
So far, Livin the one helping it be potential wins there, finally turning it into one that time. A nice double C4 attempt by Shate and Fabian, at least getting one kill out of that, but then Shate being left without that C4 at the end was a bit of a problem. Not that he would have been able to necessarily get it off anyways, as he was shot from the flank, but a very nice attempt by Penta and a good attack by Millennium that finally worked that time, because they were able to get Shate out of his room and finally kill him, but that was a bit scrappy of an ending, as he was in a good position to deny that defuse, so had they not had that flank at the end from Liven, I think still could have gone in the way of Penta and closed out
It was
the map.
Shate 100% focusing on denying the diffuser plant.
That's what man advantage is for.
Yep, that's basically it. But maybe we can ask our observer Marcio for a quick flash of the scoreboard. Thank you very much. Dziękuję bardzo, Marcio. 4-4 for Yogurts here is. Well, Hicks, Livin did get the 6 frags, and we saw him getting the last one there, but Hicks has been dropping off. Of course, all across the board at Penta, it's fairly close. Fabian leading the way with the frags, and this time not on Lion, so maybe he is trying to tell us something.
Yeah, you could have Shate playing that consistently. He's going to be playing some other roles like Ying. Pengu has been a pretty good not Blackbeard, Montaigne. It's like a giant Blackbeard ship. on the attack, and I think it's been working for them. I haven't seen Pengu really messing up that Montaigne, so it's like, why change that? It's been working consistently. I mean, obviously the backup from Junis helps, or if Fabian decides to back him up as well. They're definitely being effective on that. And then Goga's kind of doing his own thing for the most part in terms of running that thermite, getting the plant down. Has been really reliable and consistent on playing his part. And I think that's been working out, because he's letting the other guys get the frags while he does his job, occasionally getting a frag if he needs to, or trying to clutch it out with his claymores. And there's how you open the hatch without wasting a lot of utility. But They are getting set up, and then of course Glaz going to be effective up here to peek first. But I like the caution here from Junis because he needs to be alive long enough, and he's the one carrying the diffuser right now. Not that that would be a bad spot to drop it, but
there are around 3 spots there where you'll see somebody behind the mini bar, you'll see somebody behind each part of the fridge, or even behind the main bar, where you can get shot immediately, and that is one of them. This is the 101 spot to always check, and Renshiro just face checks Fabian and takes him out before the Ying can do anything, as we saw him before, at least being able to get a kill before the start of the round. Now, Shate has set up near the big bar here outside of the cigar shop, and he sprays in. Shots land very close to Renshiro.
That was almost damage as well, but Montaigne says,
hello, what's up? Jumps out, Renshiro gets the kill. Jonas will get taken down, and Jogerts is helping out. He can jump back in, and he's going to just rush on in, but Hicks will get the C4 on Goga. Penta have been demolished here by Millennium, as the French just know exactly. This is the elan. This is what you're looking for a French team. And Shate, though, dismantling Jogerts' head here. 2 players still alive. He will try to use Pengu to push in up front, but Shate taking down 50% HP. Flash right in, and of course, Livin playing the Ela, not something we've been seeing too much of, but at least those remote mines have been used fairly well. Pengu peeking in here and realizing I get shot from the open angles above. Shate setting up the claymores, making them a bit more difficult to spot just because of the red carpentry, but Pengu still in control of the main hallway.
So a lot of people left to kill, but still 45 seconds. This is doable as they are on site. No claymores, no EEMPs.
Oh no, here we go.
Matter.
Renshiro will get one. Pengu, though, will refract. Can he clutch this? There's still 3 players alive. Shate will get the second, win the claymore that he set up. Unfortunately, that is not enough. And Hicks from behind will get the kill on Pengu. That is actually a claymore you 100% do not expect in Reading.
That's 2, though, from Penta so far. They are pulling out those claymores. They leave their mark behind, that's for sure. But Renshiro's play, absolutely the star of the show right there. Monty pushes him and he says, I'll jump out the window and get a kill while I'm at
on the glass. That was
on Junis.
100% a highlight. 100% a highlight for the week.
That was a heads-up play right there, because what looks like a suicidal play was actually the best thing they could have done and completely turned that around. Because not only did he avoid the Montaigne getting any progress there in terms of pushing him out, well, I mean, literally pushed him out, but they didn't even get the kill on him as he tried to re-enter the building.
100% Renshiro. I'll say it one more time. 100% Renshiro has been watching John Wick in the past week.
Absolutely.
And he's been trying
to play it again. If he could have Kimbo pistol, he probably would have right there. Just jump out, or maybe more John Woo than John Wick.
You killed my dog.
Yeah, absolutely. But now Penta back down on the defense that is technically the harder one, but they defended just fine last time. Millennium actually taking 2 points here. They are making a bit of a comeback. As I said, when it was at 3 points, this is when Millennium can start to kind of figure out what they're doing. They seem to have done so to an extent, but Penta are still putting up a big fight. Even Pengu getting a kill as Monty walking around, still not wanting to give one up, and then Shate's Claymore. So even when they look down and out, they still got 2 more kills before it was out. So it's up to Millennium. They really need a man advantage early in a round, I think, if they're going to be able to actually close out some more rounds here, just because it's been very close a lot of the time. Yeah. But they are going with the attacker lineup they had last time when they were attacking the top floor. See if it can work as well on mining dining. But they're going to have to work some good angles here to pressure people out a lot faster, because taking that top floor was way too slow the last time they attacked this. They did bring a buck last time, which was somewhat effective, but then he died while trying to pressure the floor below. Maybe they could do a little bit safer now with Zofia and open up some of the floor as Ash as well, and just start opening holes with those without having to stand directly above the hole you just opened. So something.
Oh, here we go. There's our 25 doing the work, and
consider.
Fabian yet again falling first here as the Legion is now out of play, and of course
he's been the top fragger though. So if you're gonna kill someone early, that's the man to do.
That's definitely him. And Renshiro with 9 frags on the board, definitely impressive here, especially with Millennium trying to claw their way back into this one.
Well, they are doing a good job of it so far though. Fabian getting maybe a little too cocky with their early 4 points there, having to fight this back. But hey, being the IGL means now you just have more time to communicate with your team and strategize for them. So
I think we overstress that when it comes to Fabian.
All we want is more Fabian talking, right, to people. So
yeah,
he has proven to be an eloquent communicator.
Oh, yes.
Nonetheless,
Renshiro with one more. Goga will fall. And that's, well, Pengu, Jonas, and Shate left alive. Millennium cleaning things up very well. It seems like holding off this window with the Blackbeard has been so
Oh.
successful here, but they push in. Jonas trying to go for the spray. He's got 12 more bullets in the magazine. C4 thrown in right next to the Lion. We won't get the kill just yet. Pulls out the Deagle, sprays in, and somehow
That's the second time now we've seen that fight.
he still had 10 bullets in the mag to try and clean the last one up, and he had so many angles. It's like the dirt from both players there, but Yogurt somehow able to claw it back with 60 HP left. But there's a minute on the clock, and Penta has Shate and Pengu alive. Definitely the two players you would like to have.
They've got a
for one
lot of
clutch.
utility left, though, on the attack side. They've got a ton of breaching grenades. They've got the Lion as well. Unfortunately, they run out of ashes, but
No,
they've at
there
least
we
got
go. One more
left.
lifeline.
And a Claymore. We know how good those are in this map.
Now, the last lifeline has been used, but there's still Nitro Cell. Pengu still has his 3 gas nades if he needs to use these.
36 seconds, too. This is actually working out in Penta's favor if they could just delay a little bit longer here, and that barbed wire is going to help with that.
Yeah, that's the last E1D that'll get popped, so you won't be using this once you have this bomb plant down, or the fuser plant down. The concussion nades are going to get thrown in to try and push Shate away as much as possible. Pengu now down to 50% HP as a quick run through the hallway comes in. Shate will throw in the C4, but he can't nail it here. Yogurts will get the kill, and yet again, it's Pengu alive, but Rise cleans him up, and this is really close. 4-3 now, and Millennium are 1 round away from taking it into overtime. Definitely Pentasports getting very, very angsty to try and finish up the game, and then Millennium is able to claw it back. They've been very comfortable on these, especially when you have the plays with the Blackbeard outside with Renshiro in general playing extremely well for Millennium.
Yeah, and it goes down to what we were talking about before in terms of like what Fabian was saying in the interview, where they're playing very aggressive. And we're seeing
Shift W.
Millennium, and Millennium, as we were talking about the French teams playing a lot slower and a lot more careful. You saw it got down to the last 10 seconds there. But their carefulness is paying off now over time because they're starting to learn the positions that Penta are playing. They're starting to learn a bit more about their strategies. And it's now playing into the hands of Millennium, playing that a lot more carefully, a lot better in terms of catching them off guard. And Renshiro, Yogurts, and Live, and all being a big part of that. And unfortunately, we're seeing Shate and Fabian sometimes getting shut down kind of early. Especially, Fabian just mostly getting shut down. But he's going to switch up to the Jackal this time instead of Ying. So maybe he's going to be playing it back a little bit more, or a little more cautious in terms of trying to get some intel instead of trying to be more aggressive of a Ying player. Obviously doesn't need to be peeking into skylights where he doesn't have to like last time, but top floor still going to be a little bit of a struggle for Penta here if Millennium keep up what they've been doing. However, Millennium, I would say, have been a little bit better on attack sometimes than defense here.
I like to see the mute plays, that's for sure. Of course, Penta bringing the Jackal in this one. So that'll be another way for them to combo with Shate's Lion.
Yeah, this is definitely going to... I mean, mute is going to be interesting in terms of whether or not it helps stop the Lion, but unlike Dokkaebi, mute doesn't stop Jackal. So it is going to be something that they're going to use to track him down pretty reliably here, assuming they can get some footprints. We don't necessarily see him looking for him yet, though.
Now Livin moving around here. He's going to get spotted, but of course he does sit on a mute jammer. So, as you just said, Devin,
Good
won't
placement.
get spotted.
That gives him some flexibility and movement there. Because it is about the size of the mute jammer, he's able to move freely on that one particular area. So that is actually a good use of the mute to deny a Lion in that sense. And that's primarily what that's for, other than denying a little bit of drone movement as well.
And Fabian just clearing out the normal checklist here, making sure there's no cameras that can be used. There's no mute jammers that are set up in places where they can, possibly hinder their plays upstairs. And so far, so good, and so silent on Cafe.
Yeah, there's a lot of people upstairs, and they're just trying to hunt the one person downstairs, which they cannot find. Where is the fifth player here? There we go. He's all the way over in the corner. So they are all upstairs as he jumps out. Does get the kill on the Junis, and that's unfortunate. That is the glass down yet again from a jump out. So he's got to watch his sides more. He's not really ever having anyone cover his flank when he's on the rappel. And surprising that the Penta's not doing the same thing to the Blackbeards of Millennium.
Oh, Pengu will try to push in. Here's Fabian. Will end the shot, and he takes down Rai, so that is no more mute. But he did do his job, and the kill on the glass is definitely a huge kill for Millennium leading into this attack, because now there's nobody watching from the skylight, at least not until Shate is able to rotate upstairs, but no, he's going to be staying here behind in the cigar room. Goes in for the spray right next to Yogurts. Won't be able to take him out just yet. C4 will get used here against Pengu. Comes in and just forces the Mira out of position. Shate will trade out one, but 2 kills coming in very quick for Millennium. 2 players left alive again. Shate will get one of them. That's Renshiro on the floor. Nyx is low on HP. As you see, the Valkyrie cam has been taken out, but Livin will take down one, and that's Pengu out of play. Shate, last man alive, still have an E1D to play with, and 30 seconds on the clock. He'll pop the E1D and try to maneuver around, but the Mira window has been opened. If only he knew. Livin is ready, and he'll get the kill, and we will go into overtime here, 4-4. Millennium bringing it back. This is definitely not something Penta were looking for, because you see there Shate with the Lion.
Yeah.
Peeks in the side, but that's just, you know, he wasn't really expecting anybody to stay there, even though he peeked around, because he moved immediately back into holding the angle from the bar. Couldn't really do anything against that 2v1. The cross angle was just too difficult to deal with. We're only human. I know he's a Rainbow Six god, but still a bit human here. But Penta Sports will be back on the attack. We'll see Fabian yet again on the Ying, letting go the Jackal.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't think Pengu was being as careful as he should have been. He pushed it very aggressively, opened the Mirror window, which was good, but he was pushing into a nest of defenders, and I think the defenders all playing upstairs was smart, because knowing the roam hunting was going on, not just from Monty, but also Jackal being on the board there, means they were in a situation where they needed to kind of turtle up, and that was the smart play from Millennium, was to just keep everyone in a position where Jackal wasn't going to be as effective. He did catch one off guard downstairs a little bit earlier, but it was not a huge impact in terms of that. And then being able to play upstairs gave them enough crossfires for someone like Pengu not to be able to get the control that he wanted. Also, he wasn't pushing something like the White Hallway. He was pushing into Freezer, where there was obviously flanks set up for that. So it was a good kind of like slow reverse encircling by the defenders, where they just kind of back-to-back at the point in terms of crossfires around the Freezer. And it definitely paid off. And then just Shate not really reading into the fact that there was someone in the bathroom still was he was so overly focused. We've seen that again. He gets a little tunnel vision towards the end there.
Yeah.
So
it's pretty normal. You can't really expect somebody to pull this one off. But here we go. Yogurts will be the one to fall. And it's Fabian that will get the kill. Oddly enough,
a lot of health though.
It was a peek out, but still, here we go. Livin will get the kill on Jonas, and yet again, this time on the Zofia will go down. And they're putting quite a bit of effort on holding all the way down near the bakery.
Yeah. That's a late camera as well, and I believe Fabian saw it, so unfortunate for Hicks, who's going to be checking that in just a second. Going to see Fabian, though, who's dancing a little around outside looking for more. But nonetheless, it looks like that one camera does stay up. So it is one people off. Junis just doesn't matter what operator he plays, seems to die fairly early, unfortunately.
He's been hunted down. Jonas has been known for being...
don't like him.
Yeah, Jonas has been known for being an explosive player that you would really not like to face in a 1v1. And when you go for a quick peek against him and you take him out, you give yourself a pretty big advantage, because then you can tilt arguably one of the best aimers in the continent.
Yeah. Well, they are starting to make some progress. At least a minute and a half left, and they have at least gotten control of Cigar, Pengu in place, but he has lost a fair amount of health, and the goo mines are certainly not going to help with that. Lion's finally getting popped up, but that was just the first one of 3. So they still got a little bit of a utility left in terms of pushing this, but they've got to get people out of the freezer a little bit. At least the C4s are getting baited out. Monty's doing a good job blocking 2 of them now. That's very important in this push, as smokes are also getting baited out.
Oh, no, the Ying will lose at least
Pengu.
one of the Candelas, and that's Pengu now eliminated. He definitely could not bait that one out. Fabian has to remaneuver. There's a minute left on the clock. There's still a lot of time, and I think Penta have been rushing this a bit too fast as Goga runs on in and goes in for the plant. Fabian only able to get one as Rise will peek in and get the kill. Renshiro low on HP as well, as the E1D now is on cooldown for Shate. They'll spot at the Mira. Shate will get the kill. He's fairly low on HP. Goga will jump down and try to rotate. Shate trying to go all the way up and now catch this from the skylight possibly. Hicks just peeking in. They have no information, as using the E1D will give the attackers quite a bit of leeway. Goga lands a headshot on Rise. Hicks last on his own, and Shate will position himself. He does not have any E1Ds to play with, as he will hear the Valkyrie tapping in, and he's going to spray right next to him as Goga comes in from the side eliminates Hicks at the end, and Penta Sports take down the first round in the overtime. That was, that was execution.
Even though Pangu died, it took 3 C4s to kill him, and in that process left none to try and stop the defuse, and the smoke was just not in play to be able to stop it. Once they got that down, I love the fact that both of them completely ran out and repositioned. Getting the skylight, getting a different angle from Goga as well.
I mean, you have 2 angles. The important part is that Goga was able to run in uncontested because of the C4 baits, as you explained.
Exactly, yeah, they had none left. Not to mention, it would have been difficult still to try and push out without Shate getting the kill on them anyways, trying to push close enough to throw the C4, but they couldn't have even rotated around underneath to get the C4 kill, and that's the important difference, is they just didn't have a lot of options to stop the plant at that point. And it paid off for Renshiro, 11 to Shate's 10. Fabian still picking up some as well, so they are stepping back up on Penta side in terms of kills, but Renshiro and Liven doing a great job keeping Millennium in this, as they're only 1 point behind and potentially 2 points from taking this map if they can bring it back here, as they are on defense again.
This is what I hear, though. This is historically a weak map for Penta.
Yeah. Consulate, not so much.
Yeah. Millennium have been able to do quite a bit of damage on Cafe, but who knows what map 2 will bring if this is the case. Maybe Penta can just easily sweep, but then again, Millennium are pretty good as well.
They did win this last time Penta defended this. They managed to push their way down and actually win the gunfights to take this, so it is possible they could do it again, but it was a little scrappy and was somewhat due to Pangu probably peeking maybe too early and not biding his time in terms of forcing them to go for the plant first. But he did have to fight too, and I understand he was probably just trying to at least trade one down if he could first.
Oh, no.
These early kills from these teams, Hicks with a nice kill already onto obviously peaking Shate. I know you're a point ahead, but you really don't want to get greedy because Mira is a very essential part of that defense downstairs if they get that far. Unfortunate for Penta, who are giving away a little too much with their aggressive defenses. Maybe Fabian's Shift W strategy needing a little slight revision in terms of maybe hold off on it a little bit longer.
Maybe see a bit more than the Shift.
Rez actually playing a sledge this time. They're going something different. They're actually going to have some soft structure to say open a hatch, for example, this time.
Then again, you would say, oh, might as well just bring a Zofia at this point. So
I think that would be a better choice, but maybe just didn't work out from last time so well. So I still think it would be better, because when you stack a Zofia and Ashe, you get a lot of utility to open up a lot of angles, because they're only going to reinforce so many walls that they might want to use, not to mention soft walls near mirror windows. So Junis, though, being able to play in here, unfortunately, moves too much at the last second, and the line nerf is not on board where
here we go. From above, it's Renshiro. They'll just tap through the bar and take him out. That's already 2 players down. The Valkyrie on the rotation, of course. Shate going down first on the Mira. Well, that's the first kill from Hicks and the second from Renshiro. At least putting down the work on the board. Now, Renshiro can definitely rotate in here from the red stairs and catch anybody off. Now, Fabian is ready. He has laid down at least a couple of goo mines to protect himself, as Renshiro will go in and scout things out. He'll spot the smoke setting around very close, open in the hallway, and that is an angle that Pangu cannot contest. And it will go down.
A bomb has been located.
Fabian doesn't.
Oh no!
Right there.
Fabian, no! He will get taken down as well. Renshiro. He only eats 1 bullet into the shield, and right now Renshiro is absolutely demolishing Penta Sports. Goga runs in, gets the kill. He is, of course, the last man alive. They're trying to relay some information to him here, but the rest of the team of Millennium on the site, Yogurt just sprays right into him. And while he gets dropped, and it's not the end of the world, as the attackers here, Millennium will take a second round in overtime, and this will turn into a 1-1 in overtime as we go into our final round.
A 3-0 to a 5-5. Millennium definitely showing a lot more. Did it get to a 4-0? Yeah, it's showing a lot more adaptation here from Millennium than Penta. It's just, Penta, what's going on here? Like, you guys were just such a strong start. Where did that go? Fabian bringing the Jackal again, Junis on Zofia again. Those two, if you could stay alive for the first minute, please, that could probably help these points go a little more on your favor.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many
Definitely
bombs
so.
as
I
they
mean, Penta have been peeking a bit too much. Then again, it's Millennium that have been using Rise and, of course, Livin to get quick peeks out here. But with the fact that they're bringing Livin on the Ela, there might be a bit more dedication into Reading Room, just because you can't use Ella at distance as well as you could before. There's a reason why she's not a must pick anymore because of the recoil. You have to use her as a close quarters combat operator.
On this map, we did see Eclipse playing as Ella as well. So it seems like maybe just with this particular map, the
saw
fast
Laxing as
rotates.
well, but that was a very interesting moment.
Didn't see much of Laxing, unfortunately. So.
Yogurts is set up in the train now, very standard Mira setup. They have not opened the side, the wall from red stairs leading into the steam engine room, so it's definitely a different way of doing things, because usually you have that completely open so you can just shoot through anybody that goes into the red stairs.
Yeah, it depends. Some teams want to play it a little bit differently than others, but that is one way that is somewhat worked for a lot of teams, so definitely worth it, especially if you've got the mirror window in position to capitalize on that, which they do. But Pangu is going to rotate all the way up from the bottom floor. They cleared that first. They're being a little more thorough this time, a little less crazy in terms of pushing on in. And they're going to even back that up with a line to make sure that this Montaigne push is going to catch them off guard. However, the mirror window is just going to be looking right at him. He's going to be looking back at it. And
how do they bait the C4s? That's going to be the main point here, because there's 3 of them, and 3 of them can definitely be deadly. Jonas rotating in from the side, trying to catch somebody looking into the bar, and at least have some info on one of the players. And we will find the Ella, and that's Livin out of play. The Mute Jammer was set right for Livin to, for him to use. The Claymore will get set up again. We've seen how deadly that has been for Penta Sports, for Goga especially.
Well, we'll see if it catches anyone, but both Goga and Shate have caught people there. They have been placing Claymores pretty consistently on red stairs, just in case, they get desperate at the end. But this is slowing down quite a bit for Penta, but this is a good change to see, considering this is the map and
I really like
here.
this. This is very good use of the time, because there's 1:24 left, and they're just baiting out the utility. They still have a lot of time to play with. They still have quite a bit of utility to play with. So
and they're basically on site.
Yeah, and Penta are just taking their sweet time before that final play.
Oh,
but
flank.
Hicks from below, this is not something they've been looking for.
What is he waiting for?
No! What are you doing? No! Hicks, no! No! Shate gets the kill.
Wow.
But it's now 2 players left from Millennium.
Well,
Too cocky here, Hicks.
well.
He'll go down as Penta left with 4 players, make that 3. Shate will go down as Yogurt's on the leash and peeks in. Gets 1 more. Jonas will trade off 1 player for himself. Now 2 versus 1. The diffuser will get planted. Penta definitely in the advantage of Fabian. Will rotate into the top floor. Can use the shotgun to open up any firing positions that he might want to have. And that's exactly what he'll be doing. Rise just trying to get someone off of this here. Even see the pistol GRG-15 picked up on Jonas instead of having his 7.62. Peeks in here, gets a couple shots down range into Rise, and Jonas will clean him up. Can we talk about that? Can we talk about that, okay?
Sure.
Can we talk about that?
And, it was a situation, too, where, and I see you referring to Hicks.
Yes.
There was a Claymore right there.
100%.
There was a Claymore right next to him, so he couldn't push up more. But
Hey,
he
let
had
me
the
put
shot.
my crosshair over them for a
It's like
few seconds.
scanning him with the crosshair at that point. Yeah, that was
Goga the MVP,
Yeah.
pretty good.
despite Shate and everyone else almost, except for Pengu.
14 kills on Renshiro, Yogurts and Livin picking things up. Hicks could have stopped that entire round, dead in its track, denied everything, and the Lion would have been the first casualty.
Well,
Hindsight,
either way, that was
right?
probably Millennium's best shot at getting a map off Penta here.
Yes. It's a very impressive showing.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that. And
an impressive comeback.
I will award Renshiro my personal MVP of this map because
absolutely.
We haven't been seeing too much Blackbeard, and we haven't seen too much Blackbeard that is holding off on those eastern windows.
Especially getting like a 3K from like inside the building. Yeah, at one point, just
no problem. See, the map knowledge and prediction of his opponents alongside.
And the Lion helped as well.
It's a bit of a help, that's for sure. Of course, the drones that are helping in with them.
Yeah.
Millennium were fairly impressive. They came back from an 0-4. Keep that in mind. They took it over
warm-up.
Yeah, and they took it to the final round. But I fear that with the loss of that final round, it might actually break Millennium's spirit. A lot of times we see teams that are very emotional. When they lose a map and lose the way that this happened here,
especially
where they were
the map
so close,
pick and the one where this is our map to win, and
And you know that this is a weaker map for Penta, etc. It's very similar to what we saw as well happening 6 Invitational with the comeback on the map. So
Yeah.
still not something that should have happened there at the end. They shouldn't theoretically have been able to bring it back 4-4 and take it into overtime. But when you get to overtime and with the way that Millennium played, that should have been a victory for them. Because of how Penta were playing, where they just opened themselves up and played a bit too cocky, but then we saw what happens when you get too cocky.
Well, yeah, it'll be interesting going into Consulate because it feels like Penta had this strong start where their usual way of playing was working for them, and then it just stopped working.
Yeah.
And they didn't seem to really adapt terribly much to it. They were just still kind of playing that way, but they seemed a lot more scattered. It seemed less coordinated. It seemed like they were just trying to find picks wherever they could to get man advantage early and losing people early a lot of times, even with peaks. And I think if that translates over to the next map, Millennium have a bit of a chance, but if Penta take this short break here to recollect themselves, get back to kind of like, okay, guys, we're way too sloppy on that. We gave up, 5 rounds in a row, basically, almost. It's a bad position to be in as a team where you're the strongest team right now in this region, and you lose that many rounds in a row, you're going to be feeling like, okay, whoa, hold that.
Calm down, bring it back.
Stop doing dumb things, and let's play smarter.
That's exactly what I could imagine them.
Yeah,
yes.
but hopefully people like Renshiro can continue to shine on maps like Consulate as well, which is going to be more of a struggle.
And it still is a map that is very functional for Blackbeard, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely a lot of things. But this is one where they could also... And the thing is, it seemed like Millennium was more than willing to capitalize on runouts onto the Repeller, especially Junis, who just never had good coverage. Whereas Penta doesn't seem to be willing to do that to Renshiro, which Renshiro getting the amount of kills he's getting probably seems like it's worth it even if you have to trade to do it. You have someone maybe like a Castle where they're not necessarily as important later on.
Then again, he did do it when he was playing Mira, so we still see Rise that pushed up.
Yeah.
But let's get ready to go into map number 2. Again, a reminder, if you missed that first map, Cafe Dostoyevsky, make sure to rewatch it at the end of today's broadcast. Because right now it's Penta up 1-0 after taking it 6-5 with a comeback. 4-0 up for Penta. Millennium bring it back, take it to OT, and then miss that final round. But now, map 2 Consulate. It's historically a great map for Penta, and also a pretty okay map for Millennium. So see how they square off on this. And very expectedly, it's the IQ being picked up on Penta. But this time, it'll be Jonas instead of the normal Goga, as Goga's going on Thermite.
Well, he likes that Thermite. What can you do? But... they are bringing Lobby for their first bomb site, which is not completely, unusual in a sense, but it is one that is less common to start out with, I think, for a lot of teams. Although I feel like Europe plays Lobby a bit more than some of the other regions do. Yeah. So it is one that they are a little more well-versed on. But this is a map where it's going to be interesting to see how the roams play out because it's a bit more spread out than Cafe horizontally. And still just about as much vertically. So there's going to be a little more room for roam play than there was in Cafe in terms of the way they actually play it out. But they're going to have stuff like the Pulse probably down in Archives, which is a typical thing to see to play for underneath the bomb site. But he's going to have to actually capitalize on it well because we've seen a lot of times where if he misses the C4, the Pulse becomes kind of dead weight at that point because a lot of times he doesn't rotate up fast enough to be able to do anything with his ump.
Yeah, because you are relying on the Pulse to stay alive for as long as possible and then deny a bomb plant at the very last second.
Yeah, and those stairs, what is going on here with these guys? Fabian getting just
Get smashed.
They are upset about losing Cafe, I feel, and that passion, as you mentioned, showing itself, but that was from the Pulse, who was not actually all the way downstairs, definitely not going to be dead
Playing
weight.
on Spiral Staircase, he gets the first kill, which is pretty good, actually. You need the Ying to push back your opponents, especially
that main lobby area.
Your main point of view here is we will try to push admin, and then from there, we'll take control of the meeting room, and we'll try to push the vendors out of position, and then we'll throw our Ying Candelas downstairs
or
through the open hatch.
The other approach of just taking Projector with Ying, too, and just saying, flash the heck out of Projector, storm in.
So there's definitely ways to do it, but they rely on Ying as well because it allows your team to be a lot more effective with the Candelas. Yeah, that is exactly the way to put it. Shock and awe.
I love the idea that Valkyrie is watching IQ on the camera and then gets the kill. That is irony at its finest there. So Hicks with a nice early kill as well. They're just not they're not getting into the building very successfully here as they finally get in and do almost nothing with it and just get killed again from
My
Liven.
God, Liven,
Liven!
2 more! Yogurts will take the kill at
What?
the end there, but Millennium just
Going.
dismantling Penta Sports here.
They like corralled them into this spiral room right here and just
Come on!
massacred them. It was just, I don't know, it was ambush at its finest after killing 2 outside. So Millennium with a strong start, making up for that last round on Cafe. Renshiro bringing in Blackbeard yet again. Liven going to be on Jackal. We'll see. Shate on the Vigil? Nope, he's going to go with the Echo. He's actually a very good Echo, though. But I do like to see Shate on the roam sometimes. We did see, for example, an interesting Caveira roam from him on Consulate first play day for them. And that was a bit of a change-up, but he's going to go with the Echo instead and not play that weird.
Shate is a very competent Echo, historically speaking, so has been very good on the operator. Again, Goga going for the Ella, not a usual thing, but this signals an aggressive play. A lot of teams have been going through with the Mute, but a counter-argument to picking Mute, as much as I love having Mute on my team or playing him myself, is that you won't be able to destroy the utility that your opponents are using, but in this case, there's only a Havana.
Yeah, they're not bringing a Thermite because, I mean, they might not have anticipated this bomb site, or they just might not care, but it's definitely worth caring. It seems like they're more of a setup for attacking, particularly the top floor. Because in attacking the top floor, the Blackbeard's going to be more useful because you're going to get better angles. Habana's going to be useful to open up things from the windows. IQ's going to be useful to clear out the cameras to make sure you can repel a little more safely outside. It is in the Jackal, of course, to hunt down any roamers on the bottom floors. But unfortunately for Millennium, Penta went downstairs, and their lineup is going to be a bit more of a struggle. At least still going to get some utility, hopefully, out of the IQ, and not going to have what happened to Junus last time. Poor Junus.
Poor Jonas. Yogurts will go in here with the drone. And they'll try to drone things out so far. Renshiro set up outside here, trying to go for a pinch maybe in the connector room as they try to push the Mute out of position. Or, well, the Mute's already downstairs. As, you know, said, you know what, I'm not even going to care. If you guys want to waste your time and waste your setups upstairs and admin, that's fine. Jonas, though, is ready downstairs, as well as Fabian on
They do not want to give up Visa. Both Fabian and Eunice both playing it, contesting it very hard here. They could end up with a trade at this point, but they just give up on it, which is probably the smart choice. Don't fight it, but it's going to be hard to take admin either.
And it makes a lot of sense here. Because you don't have any full hard destruction except for your Habana, you can't just attack the main garage door. So now we have to prevent them from taking control of the staircases and pushing us from the sides or from the back.
Yeah, the back is where they're going to really have to contest it. Luckily, they have Fabian on Legion, which is something that's going to help slow down a push from the back because they'll get that intel first. So Pingu trying to help out Fabian here a little bit as well. They are getting set up to try and fight this from the back as the top floor has been completely taken control of by Millennium. So far, the only real damage is half of Eunice's health. And now they're getting set up for the yellow stairs as well. They can place a Claymore there to make sure a run out, but unfortunately, Hicks does not have one. And oh no, it looks like they already got the Claymore, just couldn't see it from that angle. Shate, though, going to be the one to watch it. He's got to be careful about over-contesting before he can use that Echo drone. At least some good intel there from Fabian. Going to slow down Renshiro a little bit. That is one you need to slow down.
You know, with the amount of damage that Renshiro has been doing so far here. Jonas jumps in. What? No, Jonas, what are you doing? No! He drops the Jackal. But that's it. What in the world just happened? Invulnerable to bullets? What is this?
Well, they at least slowed them down.
Confused?
Yeah, that was you know, that was one of those plays where he obviously just kind of panicked a little bit by having the second attacker there that he wasn't expecting, and you know, potatoed it.
All right, well, 26 seconds on the clock, and now the drop has to happen. There's not many spots here for Millennium to push through. Fabian will get one. Goga getting low on HP as he'll get shot just a bit through the hatch in the bathroom. And a shot from Shate to clean up Yogurts. He still has the Echo drone to play with here. Has the MP5 as Fabian gets one more. Spots in, Renshiro takes him out, and the last, well, that's going to be Hicks as Pengu gets the kill and takes him out of his misery. That was, all right. Do we need to talk about that again?
Well, so
I mean,
as I pointed out a couple times during the round, they were slowing them down. That's really what won the round. You saw the desperation where they were just jumping down those death chutes of a hatch to try and get in at the end, and that was
No hard destructor except for the Hibana. You're not going to use your utility there because it took them so long to take Piano anyways.
All they could open was hatches, and so they jumped down them to their death. Unfortunate. But that's what happens when you just pick the bomb site they're not expecting. Not every map, not every bomb site matters like that, but that particular one really worked against Millennium. They tried. They did get some frags in the potato.
Attackers need to locate
It might be a reason why a lot of teams have been focusing a lot more on bringing a Thermite and a Hibana at the same time, just in case this sort of mind game comes
Especially when you got Gogo, who's just going to play Thermite anyways.
Yeah.
You just, I want to play Thermite. But they are not going to bring an IQ this time on Eunice saying, you know what, maybe we should just get inside instead. We'll give you Zofia. You just get in there. Don't get shot while you're hanging around outside. But they are going to be attacking the downstairs. Now, we were just talking about the lineup for attacking this. Much, much better lineup from Penta for that. Not only are they going to have Fabian to help track down the roamers along with Shate to be able to catch them out on the line, EE1D, but they are also going to have plenty enough breach power to open up both hatches and the garage door. And then Eunice will be able to help as well with that in terms of breaching power, being able to potentially even, if he can push it through the yellow stairs, for example, and get a quick hit with the concussion grenades, can try and stop any kind of bandit from Yogurts trying to bandit trick the doors. They don't have a Thatcher, but there's more than enough ways to work it from Piano as well. Or even if he wants to, Eunice could go up. That was kind of probably not the best use of that, but he could go up there and even open up the floor from 2 floors above and shoot out the batteries if he wanted to with those. But unfortunately wasted 2 already. Rise off the board early. That is again a mute dying, but this time for Penta's favor, so good start from them.
You always use that. Usually you'll see one angle pushing into the console chamber, but now with the second launching into connector means that contesting from bathroom is almost impossible for a defender. Because
It's certainly a trap at that point. 'Cause
Yeah.
what are you going to do, jump out the window? I mean, it's not going to work for Renchiro this time, but he wasn't the one in there anyways.
Too far away and set up close to bathroom, it's not going to work out at all with the pinch play from Penta Sports.
Meat Jammer doing some work at least. Shate now going to have to face check it a little bit harder. At least going to use his EE1D to make sure it's safer to do so, that no one's going to try and peek him on the holes. They are clearing this floor very quickly now, opening the hatches. Hopefully Goga going to be working on that door as well. I like when they use that second one there for that angle so he could fight down the hatch a little safer. Get a better angle on it. And at least droning it first to know what he can actually do with that angle. Smarter way to do it rather than just peeking it and hoping to catch them off guard. This way you actually know where to look. And could potentially pre-fired as well.
Fabian, though, is coming around into the spiral staircase.
There we go.
See, that will take down the batteries. Jonas takes just a bit of damage, but you know what? No problem there. Goga should be able to set up his charge.
Here it going off now. That is garage open.
Oh, no! Finds Hicks on the rotation. And that's the smoke all up in yellow. Will go down. Renshiro, though, will push into Shate, take him out from below. Yogurt still will refrag. Goga now out of play, and that's the diffuser on the floor. That is a huge frag. Yogurt with another one. Headshot with the bandit. Now this forces Fabian to go in and fight the fight here. C4 already being thrown out. There's so many angles to watch for, but he's the last man alive versus 3. I know we praise him a lot, but this is a difficult one to go through. The Mira will go very low on HP here, Renshiro, but he has like no health to play with.
Yeah, if they just look at Fabian hard, he's going to die at this point. Unfortunately, he does still have 2 smokes left, if that helps, as well as the ability to track them down, but he's not necessarily looking to ping anyone right now.
A round that clearly should have gone the way of Penta with the way that they started it just proves that Millennium are ready, and they're definitely adapting to the way that Penta have been setting up these pushes. And even with the correct operator picks, it's not enough to push through Millennium.
Despite losing the batteries, Yogurt's played that very well, getting a lot of kills downstairs. They're playing the yellow stairs very aggressively, and it working out. A little bit of a misplay there in terms of how they were fighting the yellow stairs as well. They weren't prepared for someone to be doing exactly what Shate did just the round before, which is being at the very middle bottom of those yellow stairs, kind of next to the black car, hiding. So lobby, oh nope, they're going to switch to console at the last second here, deciding they have a better setup for that. Shate finally going to be pulling out the vigil we were talking about earlier to go on that roam. Could be playing all the way downstairs or more in the middle or even just upstairs just to mess with them. It is good for, let's say he wants to play admin and be able to hold in there a little bit longer, because they're going to want to drone out admin before they try and attack it, and that is going to make it much harder for them to successfully push into the room and pre-fire it. They're going to have to depend on something like Lion as well to help with that when they jump in the windows, and then maybe some pre-fires. But that is also going to need perhaps Goga with some ADSs to make sure they can't just nade their way in. We'll see.
See the setup here that will open up the wall from bathroom looking into the yellow stairs. That'll help out any defender that needs to provide some backup for their Legion. Most of the time, Legion we were playing from there, but look at that. Even Shate opening up the side with an impact nade to look straight into the yellow stairs instead of reinforcing it. So maybe taking control of the skylight above might be something interesting for the attackers to do.
Renchiro, a little concerned about spawn peaks, especially on this map. This is, I mean, Cafe definitely has a few, but this map, I'd say, has even more spawn peaks. I like him opening the angle from there, but he's got to realize that doorway doesn't necessarily protect his body. He can still definitely shoot him there, so he's got to be careful with that angle. Gonna drone smartly up. This is a typical thing if he's gonna push for the projector. Something you see a lot of Blackbeards do, pushing up from that angle he's doing right now. Hopefully get a little coverage from Rise and maybe some Claymores if they've got some outside as well for any kind of runouts on him. But like I said before, that Penta just have not been too keen on running out on Renchiro, which is probably working to their detriment because Renchiro staying alive longer has not been a good thing for Penta.
Well, Yogurt's sitting up here outside of the connector room, at least on the window. And trying to find an angle on someone here, but Jonas is ready to go as soon as he hears the Blackbeard.
The timing.
Renchiro will go back up, and then he hears, of course, the zip line being pulled back up. Can't really push up just yet. I realize Yogurts is also holding from upstairs, so peeking into the bathroom
Doesn't know he's right there.
They're waiting for some information to play off of, but hearing him maneuver outside is really all that they need. They have not been able to spot Renchiro just yet on the Blackbeard, who has been a thorn in the side of Pentasport so far.
Wow.
But here we go. Shate peeks in and gets the kill on Renchiro. That's perfect. That is definitely an interesting angle. And the second one coming in from Shate, taking down Yogurts. Nicely done here.
Yeah,
Resident Finn is doing the work, yeah.
Yeah, that's a 2K from him and only losing half his life. Even if he dies now, he's done more than enough work. And they're playing much, much smarter this time. The aggressiveness just not working as much, so they're actually leashing themselves in quite a bit, and it's paying off.
Oh, I love this. They're not expecting the open hole on the side.
Yeah.
And obviously, since he's the visual, well, he can't really be spotted. Unfortunately, here for Fabian, he will, and he will go down.
They know he's playing around there.
Yeah, he's holed up behind a reinforced wall. And I like how they have set up these walls. The 2 breaching rounds left. Lippin will spray right next to Pengu, and finally will get the frag. They're still waiting, and possibly the Vigil peeking out for it. So here's Shate maneuvering behind the
they know he's
wall.
there now.
They want to force him out, and maybe it'll be time for the grenade to be thrown in for Rise.
Yep. 25 seconds left, though. They've got to make this kill
happen. He's got no frag grenades to play with, unfortunately. This all has to be done here by Shate, who drops in, does damage, but can't get the kill. And Rise will get the second one. 12 seconds on the clock, as now Jonas goes in for the fights, and Hicks comes in for the cleanup. 3-1 for Millennium. This is surprising.
Millennium are showing up today. I mean, yeah, after the first 4 rounds lost on the last map, or whatever happened, they had their cup of coffee kicked in, whatever it is, they are definitely much stronger than they had been before against Penta. I mean, we're also seeing a little bit of sloppier Penta than we usually do.
Oh yeah, 100%. Even with the way the Shate has been setting up, this is unlike any time I've seen Penta play, which is they're relying on that personal skill to win out the round.
They're not trading a lot of times either. They're really, I mean, you're seeing a lot more trading coming out from Millennium. You're also seeing a few players on Millennium getting multiple kills. And it's a situation where it's like, they're doing a good job pinching people out, getting good intelligence, and that's part of the reason you're seeing multiple kills come out from Millennium, is they're having enough intelligence to be able to play on where they know the positions are and to be able to fight multiple people rather than it just being one-on-one engagements. And that's, Penta just seems to spread out and engage one-on-one. I mean, we can't hear their comms. They might be just knowing everything all over the place and just losing their gunfights.
They can't capitalize, yeah.
But we're seeing like wall bangs and things like that coming out from Millennium, so it clearly seems like Millennium are having the advantage in terms of knowing where they're at, or at least playing smarter with the pre-fires and opening holes up, just catching them off guard. Like, for example, you saw Pengu getting shot in the bathroom there, just not doing anything about it. He just sat in the bathroom the whole time. Unfortunately, that was it achieved almost nothing at that point. Renchiro gonna get some cameras out, and again, they're not bringing the IQ. This time, Junis again on the Zofia. Fabian back on that Jackal as well. Pretty much the same lineup they've been bringing before. Gonna need it to work a little bit better this time, as they are down 2 points. It's actually close to that point on Penta's map against Penta. That is not something I expected to be saying today.
Yeah. Neither did I, to be honest. I won't say I'm disappointed, but then again, it's not done just.
Could see map 3.
Yep. Honestly, I would be very excited to see where Millennium takes us with this, because this is definitely a Millennium that we have been dreaming of for quite some time. Give us the skill that we know this lineup and these players have and can offer. And so far, it's looking pretty sweet here for our French lineup. Rice will step in here to Jonas's concussion nades that are being thrown in with the Zofia. And Yogurts will get the information.
No,
he
he's
might.
there.
Oh my god, no, he can't get the damage done.
Oh, now
He'll
he's
be
marked.
detected by the E1D. Fortunate for him, but Rise will at least be able to get the kill on Jonas, who's just not feeling it today, though. Shate will refrag, headshot onto Yogurts, and Livin will get one more. Shate down on the floor, no more Lion right after the E1D, but Pengu will spot it here. As we see the C4 being thrown right in his face, Goga will get one more on Rise, and this is getting insane for both teams. Hicks still alive with the smoke in hand in the waiting room, and Connector here goes in for the spray, but can't get the frag. He will give the information to his teammate, but he's going to get flashed in as you see the rush from Fabian, who gets the kill. Now it's a C4. Can Livin save the day for the team? But there's so much time left. He can't get it done, and it's Fabian, Goga, and Pengu alive. They'll re-maneuver to set up close-up angles, ready for Livin to rotate in as he snakes his way up. Goga should be able to hear him here, but he has a diffuser. Oh my god. If this can actually get spotted, he'll spot Livin, and he's now a little low on HP. There's a minute left on the clock.
Well, he's burned his C4, and he has no way to get upstairs because they're going to cover all the stairs on him like they're doing right now.
It should be a win here easily for Penta Sports. If only Livin knew what he could have done there to shut down Goga, but no, Fabian takes him out, and Penta Sports come back swinging with a round.
Unfortunately for Livin, he needed that C4 to work if he was going to have any chance of clutching that, because then there wouldn't be two people covering two stairs. He would have had a chance to be able to rotate up somewhere, but there are limited stairs, and unfortunately he cannot rappel outside, so that is where attackers had a clear advantage. But Penta still down a point even after that. I just feel like Millennium are doing a much better job at, again, as I was saying earlier, trading kills. They're making sure that whenever there's a kill on them, they're seeming to trade it back. For example, Shata getting a kill, immediately traded back onto them. They're seeming to set up good crossfires for each other so that whenever they do get caught off guard, they're at least able to push it back. Even if they don't get the kill, they're a lot of times pushing Penta away and being able to get some ground out of it. But it was just a scrappy attack, and unfortunately for Millennium, they just could not handle a lot of the actual crossfires that were happening from Penta that time. Shate going to be back on the Echo, this time for the middle bomb floor. They are going to finally play lobby, deciding they're not doing so great on some of the other floors, other than the garage.
It'll be interesting where they set down Shate there. It's possible to have him in the bathroom, but you can also play him very, very, very far away.
Ooh, some interesting angles from the long desk.
Usually you'll only see a close angle that's right here above the lobby entrance.
Yeah, from projector.
Yeah, exactly there in projector room. But here we see two wider angles that'll give them even more spots. These are 4 angles that can be used down.
Well, and Shate with ACOG as well, as long as he doesn't somehow stick his feet out too much or have an issue with the other door. Like the door behind him, obviously he didn't have like a castle barricade or something to be able to secure it. That would have been a nicer play to do, is just have the castle barricade there. Not that they couldn't have used, well, I was going to say, I mean, I guess they could have used Hibana for it, but they don't bring a Zofia or an Ashe to be able to hit it remotely with anything less than X-Kairos. Pengu already taking quite a bit of damage, though, trying to defend this projector. If they can get in there with the Blackbeard and get Pengu out, that actually will make this a much, much easier take here and depend a bit more on Shate with the Echo Drone, which you did see him positioning around near Connector, it looked like.
Churro.
He knows.
He'll spot Pengu. He knows where he's at, but now he has to maneuver this. Now, this plays a bit more into Pengu's position because he knows this. He was the Blackbeard that used to spend hours on this balcony.
Contesting people in there.
So it's definitely, if anybody knows how to counter this, it's someone that has spent hundreds of hours on this exact same spot.
Yogurts is trying to help with the pinch, though, for sure. He's trying to make sure it's definitely harder for them to fight.
Well, Jonas coming in here with the mute very close up in the connector room. Haven't been able to find anybody just yet. You see the Lion outside. He was protecting his friendly Blackbeard. As Renshir will peek into the bathroom. Can't find anybody just yet. The C4 will get thrown in, but Jonas won't be able to hit anybody. Look at the amount of damage now done to Penta Sports.
Oh,
Fabian going low on HP, and Shate will go down on the Echo with 1:22 on the clock.
definitely unfortunate losing the Echo because buying themselves time is what they've been doing successfully, but Fabian over-peaked that and somehow didn't get punished. They sure know where he's at now, though. And they go for the pinch from the side. That's a nice drop by Aliven, as he's going to be overly focused on those windows. So well played by them.
Oh, no. Jonas yet again will go down. Yogurt's here, taking him out on the line. Pengu will even run out, try and get a frag off of it, but Goga only landing one. Renshiro lands the final one. And now Millennium on 4 rounds total. They're on map
On fire is
point.
what they're on.
Yeah, that's 100% true. This is fresh out of the bakery here for Millennium. They're ready to take down Penta and change up the way that they've been doing things. And now this takes it into our final, or possibly our final round in the second map.
Are we going to see Penta with the same level of comeback we saw from Millennium last map?
Regular season, how many times have Penta Sports actually lost a map in Pro League? Within the past year, it's less than 6 maps in total.
Yeah, this is...
We're talking like 3 to 4 maps in total in a year, not counting offline finals. Of course, 6 Invitational, where it was only losses with the 2 maps in the grand final.
Well, this has been phenomenal for Millennium. Wherever it goes from here, very, very impressed with this team. I do hope we see them potentially make it to land at this point.
It's very possible because, remember, there's a very high possibility of both Penta and Millennium making it through to the playoffs. And if they're first and second, then there's a possibility of both making it through into finals, offline, of course, in the US. So I would not put it away here to see both these teams playing in a grand final, or well, in the finals in for Pro League.
Makes me a little concerned for the other regions if Millennium's playing this hard, because usually we're just seeing mostly Penta and Ents coming out of EU this strong, but
this is not. I think 2018 might not be the year of Ents.
Unfortunate. At least the end of 2017 was.
The other 20 years that they've been playing Pro League before.
They helped invent this game. Nice angle there from below, but
oh boy,
not going to work out. Now,
we go.
A lot of good clear of below coming out from Penta. They're actually working these hatches up from below, which is a different way of taking this. Usually it's about taking it from above. So I like the Penta are doing something different, but fighting this from below I feel like is a little bit harder than fighting it from above. But they do know fighting upstairs is going to be a lot more contested than downstairs. And Pengu at least starting it off right. Taking a Legion out early is always good because he is someone that gets more useful as the round goes on.
Of course, and it's been a similar thing where we've been seeing even the Legion on Penta's side going down early with, when it's played at least by Fabian. Not to his own fault, that's for sure. But Shate comes in here to the tellers and trying to pinch away any rotations. Going back up.
Fabian doing some good droning for him as well. Has not caught Levin out yet, but Goga probably did. Now this is going to be interesting here. He's rotating down to the floor that they had cleared. So they had taken control of the bottom floor. Now we're oh
no, Jonas
wow.
will go down. He's just been so unlucky today. And that's the Zofia out of play for Penta Sports. And there's the C4 from Renshiro. Grab the kill. He's very much playing correctly here with the information being fed by the Valkyrie cams outside. Now Hicks will pop his second smoke canister, though. Goga will get the kill on Rises. Livin is set very close up here, lower side of the main stairs, though. Fabian will get one on Hicks and turns it into a 3 versus 2. The Fuser is in the hands of Fabian, and there is a minute left on the clock, but Renshiro gets one. He'll try to get the second here. There we go. Livin will get one. C4 will get thrown, and boom, no, he cannot. Livin will get the final frag on Goga, and that is a 5-2 win for Millennium Esports against Penta on
one of their
Consulate. Like, what in tarnation is that? That is 5-2. That is handily a victory for Millennium.
That was probably one of the most impressive performances I've seen from a team in an unexpected situation this entire season so far. Millennium bringing it strong.
Livin this time. Oh
yeah.
My God.
Renshiro was still bringing it, but Livin really showing up, and Penta, unfortunately, asleep at the wheel, as it seems. I mean, Coastline is one that Penta have gotten better at for sure.
They're definitely one of the better teams.
But Millennium is one of the teams that was pushing Coastline before a lot of other teams. So this is a team with a good history on Coastline as well.
And again, the way the Coastline has been played recently, especially with the introduction of Lion, is, take control of Hall of Fame and try to push into the bedroom. Then there's different ways of playing bedroom. You can have the entire sidewall into VIP soft. You can reinforce it completely, but then you have to dedicate so much utility to defend it. So there's so many ways to play around with Coastline nowadays where it's a different way of thinking, not just a metagame. We a lot of times will say, oh, it's, just because of new operators. No, it's just a different way of now thinking about a site. Because we used to say, oh, we're defending bar and cafe, let's reinforce everything. No, just realize you don't have to do that. There's actually much more efficient ways of doing it, and most of them are keep the attackers on their toes by opening up as much as possible, and they don't know where to expect you to peek from.
Yeah, and I think a team that has been playing Coastline for a long time has a little bit of an advantage in this meta in terms of just good map knowledge is really important when Lion's in play, because it's a situation where you need to be able to roam around freely, but you need to be able to sit comfortably in positions where you can escape or you can stay safe while he's droning with the EE1D. And so just map knowledge is really going to play into that, because you've got to have good rotates back, or if he's starting to really pressure you, let's say there's a Jackal combination with it as well, you need to be able to get back to site fast and use that courtyard effectively, for example, to rotate across.
Unlike with other teams, we haven't really seen Dokkaebi being played by either one of these two.
No.
So it's a possibility.
Could see it here.
Yeah, definitely Coastline could be one of those maps. We are getting ready to go in just a couple minutes, so I know everybody's excited. We definitely want to see this because Consulate... Okay, let's try to redraw it through this, okay? Pentasports, with the current lineup, of course, minus KS plus Shate, playing for the past year, right?
Yeah.
They have lost around 2 maps. They lost once against ENCE. That was we're talking online season qualifiers.
Yeah.
It was a 2-1. One of the maps was Consulate. And they lost this map, and they lost 1 in normal season as well. So they lost 4 to 5 maps in online play in the past year.
Yeah.
Just let that sink in for a bit, because whenever they've been to LAN, they've either won the whole thing without dropping a single map. Remember Season 4 and Season 5, which is Katowice finals a year ago, and of course Gamescom in Germany. Then they go to Brazil. They lose 2 maps in total. That was versus Black Dragons in the semifinal. And of course, they go out of the tournament at that point. They go to 6th Invitational. They don't lose a single map all the way to the grand final. And then they lose 2, almost losing the 3rd and dropping out in the final against EG. But then they claw it back. So even in tournament play, they have lost a total of 4 maps.
And to be clear, they almost lost Cafe as well. It was that close. It was a 6-5.
Yeah, it should have been a win for EG looking at it.
No, I mean in this
case as well, yes.
Yeah.
So how close this entire thing is, when you lose 4 to 5 maps in online play in 1 year, and then you lose 4 total maps at tournament play,
yeah, I gotta imagine
that's definitely a team to fear.
They're just not on today.
No,
like
100%. Jonas especially.
I mean, that's not to denigrate Millennium at all. Millennium are playing fantastic, especially Liven and Rensure.
Liven and Rensure are insane.
Yeah, and that has been, I would say, a big reason why they're capitalizing on where Penta is just being weak today. I'm not sure if they just woke up late or what it is, but they are not. This is just, again, not the Penta we're used to seeing, not the Penta you're talking about that barely drops into maps.
When I'm telling you all of these stats, this is to highlight how difficult it has been for any team on the faces of this planet, and maybe outside of this galaxy. Who knows? With Fabian, who knows? Maybe he is an alien. But to highlight this, when they lose 4 to 5 maps, less than 10 maps in an entire year of tournaments in Pro League, yeah, that's definitely a team that you should be fearing. And just Millennium just comes and slaps them on the face like, you know what, we almost took Cafe. No problem. We'll go to Consulate 5-2. Let's go to the 3rd one. Let's see what you have to bring on Coastline, which is, as you said, a map that Millennium historically has been fairly comfortable on. Penta as well has been comfortable on, especially when we saw in the grand final 6th Invitational not too long ago.
Yeah.
This can definitely go either way. And I hate saying, oh, this can go either way every single time. But
well, in a situation like
this can definitely go either way. And I'm super excited to see what different strategies will be cooked up for the final map, because both teams, especially Penta, have been historically known for making up strategies within the final couple minutes before a game starts.
I just can't see Penta letting this go. This is This is too close for comfort for them.
Too close for comfort. But, ladies and gentlemen, let's see who takes this as Millennium bring it to map number 3 after losing 6-5 on map 1 Cafe against Penta. Of course, the reigning world champions, 5-2 victory for Consulate, destroying those champions. And then they take it into map number 3 on Coastline. And now it's Millennium starting off on the attack. And we'll be seeing Rise on the Zofia as the setup has been revealed for Penta. Vigil will be in play yet again in the hands of Shate. Well, very normal, if you will. Fabian back on the Legion, Jonas on the Mute, Goga on the Bandit, and of course Pengu on the Smoke. Historically, one of the best smokes you would like to have on your team, especially in the EU.
Now this is a map that could also have some spawn peaks. We saw famously Eunice get picked off by EG when the finals you were talking about with a nice spawn peak.
BC as well was playing a absolutely fantastic buck.
Yeah,
in my mind, it's the best buck in the world.
Yeah.
Just being able to shut down anybody that's playing upstairs. Now, in this case, we won't have a start in the bedroom. This will be a start downstairs in the kitchen.
Yeah, this is a little less conventional, but definitely something we've seen from a few teams that prefer to start up here. You're still going to want to keep control of the bedroom upstairs above it, because you're going to need that to make sure that they can't attack you from above, which they're not bringing a buck, but they're bringing more than enough destruction to open up that floor as well. So they're definitely going to have to watch out for that. It is one where you've really got to kind of work a few different angles, because you can get pinched from a couple different sides, but you do get the ability to funnel them somewhat in terms of them actually approaching, especially if you can guard any hatches. But they're just going to take control of Sunrise like it's nothing. Drone, unfortunately, a little stuck there. He's going to have to jiggle it out. Yeah.
There you go. Rise will come in, spot kitchen here, getting some information. Of course, he has taken control of the Sunrise bar, opening things up for Renshiro to have an angle, a cross angle really, into the back of the kitchen. The first E1D will get popped, and it's a fairly early one. A lot of teams have been very conservative with the use of the E1Ds on the Lion.
They are almost getting an early pick here onto the kitchen. That is a good start for Renshiro. And Rise here to be able to putting this much pressure on the site just within the first minute of the round, just completely ignoring the players upstairs, letting the rest of the team deal with them. And that's going to force Junis to rotate down to try and help here. Fortunately for him, they're not at an angle he can use.
That's 2 gas canisters used right at the 2-minute mark. That is huge here for Millennium so far.
Very strong start for them. Now they're also working a cross angle, but Junis does finally find one. And that's
the Lion.
Yeah, that is not a good start. I mean, Renshiro and Rise have been doing a little bit more work, but losing the Lion early is definitely going to make this pressure a lot softer.
And we've been seeing a lot of Lion waiting until the end of the round, until he comes around from the side, you know, able to get anybody rotating back onto his site. So in the long term, the frag on the Lion is definitely important here, and definitely more important than we can give it credit.
Well, they are definitely trying to get any kind of pre-fires they can. Rise just, doesn't know he's there.
Here we go. It's Rise that'll go down. Jonas, he's back in play. All he needed was a bit of sunlight on Coastline. That's 2 kills for him, but Levin will get 1. And that is Fabian out of play, but with the amount of time, has been able to use 5 to 6 of his goo mines. Now, Renshiro will be forced up the stairs to clean up a Mute.
There's a Shate left on the board as that Vigil, too. That's going to make it really hard for them to turn this 3v4 into any kind of pressure, even if they start getting a few more kills.
Oh no, he peeks right around. The spray coming in here from Renshiro is unable to get the kill on Jonas. Barely any damage done to him as he has to pull out the Deagle. That's definitely not the spot to be in.
What?
But Renshiro double taps here. He takes down Jonas, going in for the 1-taps as well through the kitchen door, but can't find the hit on Pengu. Now Pengu, Goga, and Shate alive against a half HP Levin and Renshiro. Now that's a dead Levin, as a Pengu comes in and rushes into Renshiro, taking him out. Penta with a very good start early on here.
They definitely had a lot of pressure on them early, but it seemed like, yeah, we put pressure on the kitchen without clearing out the roamers, but the inability to turn that into any kills just left them in a place where, like, what do we do now? And they're so busy fighting the roamers, because Junis at that point just started pretty much killing everyone from hookah and just playing really strong up there to the point where Blackbeard had to get a Deagle kill on him at that point to try and do anything. It was
Somehow
just desperation.
He did get this final shot.
Yeah, but it was after he'd done so much damage to their attack at that point.
Yeah,
and
2 kills and a half HP Blackbeard.
Yeah, and that was discounting the other roamers who were slowly picking off the other attackers while they were so busy trying to get Junis. So a lot of credit to Junis there for helping salvage that initial good start from Millennium and turning it into a great finish for Penta. Now we're going to see Looks like, is this going to be Kitchen again? No, this is going to be Blue Sunrise. Definitely a different start here for Millennium.
This is why we like Coastline, though.
Yeah, some good variety.
Because there's a lot of variety, and all 4 sites are fairly viable.
Hookah, I feel like, is at this point the least popular, though.
Yeah, great.
I mean, it is, again, so it's much like Skyscraper, we have a lot of the bomb sites stacked above each other. So in this case, you have Hookah stacked above Blue Sunrise. You have the kitchen just below the penthouse. So it's just, they're kind of like, either way, you're setting up with ones where you somewhat have to defend above as well. So when you're doing Blue Sunrise, you still got to defend Hookah to an extent. And we see teams, once they lose Hookah, it tends to fall apart a little bit on defending Blue Sunrise because you can put so much pressure from that outside door that you can see right there that it becomes very difficult to hold it.
Now, we've seen with Latin America, for example, since they are much more keen on bringing a blitz, that they will challenge the main door to push into the bar, but definitely not the case here in Europe, as it's going to be a lot more laid back. Take your time, take control of the top side, maybe try to push onto the sides of it instead of just bashing your head into the bar and trying to pull through with just pure aim and skill.
Now they are bringing a castle, which is going to give them a little more utility upstairs. They're setting up to be able to play a little more carefully, help defend or even retake Hookah if they need to make sure that if they start to make progress here, Castle's going to be able to slow them down. But he has taken a lot of damage, and this window is always a big problem and a difficult thing to fight for people that are playing in that room because you only get partial coverage from that little bar in Hookah. And that's what makes it so difficult to be able to contest unless you fight some long angles. But they're not bringing anyone with a nice long ACOG to be able to fight that from another room. So instead, Castle's just going to stay by the bar while they try and pick him out. People like Pengu trying to fight angles. They're not going to be bringing Junis on the glass, something I was saying we saw before during Invitationals. Instead, he's just going to be on IQ, get a little bit of intel on the outside, which they do have a Valkyrie, so that is probably a smart choice. And Yogurts, unfortunately, cannot find a good angle now and gets detected. Not that they didn't know where he was at already, but now they can see when he's going to peek.
Surprised there's no grenades that are being lobbed near him. Of course, Rise is holding the side angle here in the aquarium, as Habana will open up the side here. That is an extra angle that they'll now have to deal with, and Pengu very quickly peeks in and gets the kill on Rise. They know there's another player in the back, and that's the Habana rushing right in. Pengu balls to the wall, goes in and gets the hit.
He was just sick of that fight. Now this Castle Barricade forcing them through that funnel.
They can Kairos. They don't really need it because the rotation holes were already set.
Yep.
Pengu does not really have to fear about anybody, but he'll use that Castle Barricade to his advantage.
It did take them a while to clear them out there, so they did work to their advantage. It just
2 kills, no losses, 48 seconds left on the clock. It's definitely a delay, but at what cost here from Menlo?
Yeah, especially now that they've got enough utility to be able to do something with the site. They've got a Thatcher to be able to clear out anything down on the site that's going to help deny stuff. Not that they had a mute or anything else that was going to be a big problem. Yogurts is dead, and they're going to be able to clear out any ADSs. So once the attack starts, it's going to be pretty brutal, but 30 seconds, and they haven't really kicked it off just yet. As you start to see people going down, Pengu taking down another one of Fabian with one on to live, and it's all down to Hicks.
Hicks will get spotted, but Fabian will get the kill as Hicks only able to get the final shot on his teammate. Fabian just rushing in, watching the hallway, and holding it a cross angle for Jonas as they both come on down.
Well, Penta definitely not too happy with the last result. They're going to come on strong on this map, much like we saw from Millennium on the first round of Consulate, where it's just like, you know what? No, not going to happen, not going to happen. We gave you Consulate of all a 5-2. All right, guys, time to step it up. However, it's still been a little bit close, but we're seeing Penta with a lot better time control, a lot better map control.
Rook Dog, are we watching EG here?
Yeah, this is, they're going to be playing some long angles. The mute's going to be playing into that as well, allowing them to play a little more comfortably in certain positions to be able to hold those long angles, but they're going to be playing the old penthouse here. Now that they've won the downstairs, they're going to go for the more traditional bomb sites. Not going to bother with Blue Sunrise or Hookah, but they are going to set up a lot of reinforcements so they can play back potentially in this bedroom, in the theater quite a bit here to be able to play those long angles. The question is, are they going to play a 3-armor roam? Is Doc or Rook going to go on the roam and try and perhaps guard VIP?
Then again, you can have the mute in the Ella. That's definitely something that can be easily done. You might have the Ella contesting as well into in the VIP, looking into the Hall of Fame.
Well, they reinforced the entire VIP wall, so they're definitely not going to play any strats like we've seen where they just open that up, silly things like that. But they are definitely.
Can we, Marcio, could we ask you to go back up and look through the bedroom and VIP window? Turn there. Okay. It's just an odd angle. All right, so everything is reinforced, and they only leave out one side here for Pengu.
Ooh,
Jonas, though,
Juice.
will get the kill on Hicks, so it's a very good... Oh, and the right
that's
by the
Habana, too.
Lamborghini there. Nicely done.
Yep.
Hicks will go down.
Fortunately, not going to be take that for the test drive. They are going to be working their way up towards the window, though, and we'll see if they try. They did bring a Blackbeard of Ranchero, so he could go to play on that window, but instead he's going to be helping take VIP in Hall of Fame. They've already got the Claymore on as well to make sure there's not going to be any runouts on Ranchero as he tries to help clear that room. It is hard to see all of that room from that window, as you've got to worry about to your left and right. Very close angles people could play, but no roam from Ella here. Just going to be hanging out actually in and getting droned. Not a lot of flexibility, but he used all of his mines already, so not going to be able to use those to deny the plant either.
Pengu even getting aggressive with the Mira, who'll set up very close here. Fabian will get one, though, and that's the ACOG coming into play. Rise will go down. It's both the Zofia and the Habana, and now the IQ on the floor as Pengu just flips around, gets the frag. Yogurts will try to snipe the equipment in the air, but Penta so far are feeling it here. They're close to bringing this up 3-0. Ranchero on the Blackbeard. We've seen him do so much damage in the last couple maps, but right now he just has been denied. Yeah, sure, he's a strong operator, strong player, but then when the rest of your supporting cast is down, well,
it's all down to angles at this point, and he's not going to get any without good support from Yogurts here. And unfortunately for him, if he goes to go into the room, he can't do something to blockade that door. So they can easily come for a flank on him. So he's going to need to take control of VIP, which he's trying to do through Hall of Fame, and Pengu says nope. And it's down to Yogurts to jump in the window and die here in just a second, potentially.
Yeah, the Shimont mine has been set up perfectly here to spot out anybody that moves into the Hall of Fame. And now Yogurt's trying to find an angle. As we said before, Pengu is ready for him. He'll pop the last E1D. There's a lot of ammo in the mag, but Goga's ready to nail the headshot as there's only one spot for him to push through. And well, both of them were held here by Penta.
This is the Penta we were supposed to see the last two maps.
But then again, remember, we saw Penta up 4-0 on Cafe.
Yep.
And it was brought back and taken into overtime by Millennium. So just for this once, I will not count out.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But I do feel like that was when Millennium were kind of getting warmed up. They've had more than enough warm-up so far. So now it seems like maybe they're running out of steam instead. And Penta finally kind of capitalizing on that. Playing this map a lot stronger than we would. I mean, look at that. 4 kills amongst them out of 3 rounds. So Millennium
Pengu back in the driver's seat.
Yeah, he is just on a killing spree at this point in terms of just denying anywhere they want to push him. Seems to be working out quite well for him. But now looks like Millennium's going to try the kitchen. See if they've got a spicy dish for Penta, who have not had to attack this just yet. So we'll see what they've got. But they are going to change up their attacker lineup. Maybe anticipating this, maybe not, with Fabian bringing a Twitch, something we don't see a lot from Fabian.
We used to see Fabian play a lot of Twitch. We just
while.
haven't really been seeing Twitch in general.
It's true.
For EU and NA, and it's just been something reserved for Latin America, at least for a couple players, especially. So
Wow.
Hicks runs out here in the Pulse, doesn't find anything, has to pull back into the kitchen stockroom. Again, Fabian, we've seen him be a crutch as well, relying on the FAMAS when really you need him to get down and get fragging.
Yep.
So
You see that run out for that was for the drone there earlier, the drone that is there now, ironically enough. Well, they are definitely at least getting on the roof, but not necessarily doing a whole lot to clear out everyone just yet, as so many of them are far back, doing some initial droning first before they approach, which is a good thing here. It feels like Penta are playing a lot more careful now, and that's why you're seeing them not lose players. They're getting in situations where they're getting into gunfights where, again, they're not doing what they've been doing the last map, which was way too many one-on-ones. Just the 1v1s are not working out for Penta. So now they're actually playing off of each other, doing a good job getting intelligence and playing with their drones, making sure that they pressure people out and actually take map control instead of just running around like crazed animals. Shate actually getting some intel. Fabian, though, is the one to actually pick that up.
Nicely done. That's the first kill here on Rise, and UNS will get the second. You have information as well on the third player is somehow uncontested in Courtyard. Jonas just sits back, doesn't really have to worry about much. Through the bathroom they might be peeking here, but Shate will get one more. 2 players left alive, and they're rotating through. They get spotted. Pengu gets one. Now it's up to Yogurts. Barely any damage done to Pentes. Pengu steps into one of the goo mines. They'll spot the last one. Easy kill there for Pengu, and Penta are now in control. One more round to make it 5-0. This is definitely a map that favors Penta.
Wow, that was a very quick round too. That was a minute 30 basically. They killed everyone. They just dominated them. Like it was down to like a minute 30 left just before that last kill, and it wasn't like it was a slow start. You know, there's we're droning, we're trying to get into the building, and then it was like, okay, now let's kill everyone.
No.
So nicely played by Penta. This is the same spot like you said we saw on Cafe. So this is do or die for Millennium. Either they do what they did previously.
What are you doing?
Throwing. The 4-0 lead again.
Here we go. I'm pretty sure our statistician for EU Pro League will be very happy that he has to add Frost on top of everything. That'll be Fabian here to break it through as he'll come in, he'll set up his traps.
To be fair, we did see Shate, as I mentioned earlier, playing Kavera once that looked like, what was this? And it worked very well. And this is a this is a bomb site that does support putting those traps there.
Yes, the welcome mats are very effective. The C1 is extremely easy to control as well. That'll give you a lot of controllability, even if you fight at longer ranges. Very similar to the UMP. So it's a different way of playing, of course. Then you get the extra couple of bits of barbed wire. But where do you set up the C1, or where do you set up Fabian in general? He's still got one more welcome mat to play with. And this is a sneaky one. A lot of people like to play behind the main lobby.
The welcome mat at the welcome desk. Seems appropriate. The bear trap receptionist. Still got one barbed wire left to place too. Doesn't seem to know where to want to put it. I would think you would want to put it on the window, but that might just inspire them to grenade it. And then there goes his trap. So he does know that they're going to want to pressure this. But
here we go. Down. Fabian gets one.
Oh, Richiro's down. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, indeed. Even through the Blackbeard shield there, Fabian won't get spotted by the E1D, and he might just try to push out of the main lobby position. No, he's just going to sit right behind. He's got a Mew Jammer to help him out as well. But Rise will get one. And that's Pengu removed from play. That's a smoke. It's a pretty important pick here for Millennium. Well,
now they've got to get a little bit more map control if they want to turn that into anything. But losing Renshiro means they're going to lose a lot of their pressure and their firepower. Fabian getting greedy and getting marked by a Lion there. Unfortunately, just working as a distraction against Millennium here, as they don't seem to be able to get him. Here, he really did his job. Even if Fabian dies, not only do his traps stay there, but he also got a kill onto one of the most important players on Millennium, on the most important round for Millennium. So, I guess not throwing after all. I mean, some of that was just due to good angle, good timing, catching Blackbeard at the right spot. And Junis is getting detected now as well. He has been very effective as that mute before. These Lions catching people and no one there to follow up on it is a big problem here for Millennium because they popped two, got intel with it, and just got points out of it at best.
Yeah, and you know what? Hey, points don't really count here.
No, you're not going to. Top of the leaderboard, MVP doesn't matter unless your team wins.
Exactly.
So, looks like he's going to cook up a goo mine just to make it extra tasty if they get into that kitchen, which doesn't look like they're going to be able to at this rate. Last time we saw them up to this point at kitchen, right off the bat.
Oh no, Fabian gets the kill with the C1! And that's the thing, the controllability of the C1 at range, working out perfectly, even with no long barrel. Of course, long barrel adding the extra recoil that you'll have to deal with. Yeah, you do a bit more damage to the body at range, but you're looking for the headshots, and that's why I think it's blasphemy to use it anyways.
It's a good gun in terms of recoil, but at long range.
They'll try to take him out here, but Fabian is still playing, and now even up close, he gets the third one before Livin finally cleans him up, but Goga takes Livin down, and that'll be the victory. 5-0 for Penta on the final map, Coastline. This is a roller coaster of a game, and this proves that Millennium are definitely a huge team to look out for. They always have been, and now they still are. It's very possible for them to make it through into the playoffs and then to land, so it's not done just yet. But Penta, still.
Yeah.
They lose out one map, sure, but they're still the victors.
That's what you do when you lose out a map. You go, that's fine, 5-0 next map.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is not going to happen again. So either way, though, a map being taken off Penta, as you stated in many terms earlier, is an accomplishment and something to look forward to from Millennium. I mean, obviously, going potentially to land here in this case, just being off that strength as well. Obviously, they did lose that, so they're going to have to fight, for that spot. But I feel like there are less contenders against that level of strength. However, some of it might be due to maps. In this case, maps that were all somewhat ones that were decent for Millennium. I thought Coastline was actually going to be decent for Millennium, but obviously Penta know it quite well. But the question is, how strong will Millennium be, again, going forward on this if they get less favorable maps?
Yeah.
I do think they might have put a lot more into these particular maps. Now, they were talking earlier about having a coach analyst, and that pays off, and making sure that your particular map pool is especially strong with more diverse strats on it. The question is that coach also working on expanding the map pool?
Yeah, Capel has definitely been doing the homework for Millennium. Unfortunately, it is not enough, even after a fantastic showing on our first couple maps. It was still Penta that was able to take the win 2-1.
The upside for Millennium is now that they know they've got some of the strength, now they just need to go back and look at the VODs, see what they did wrong, correct those mistakes on Cafe, which were not too many, and especially on Coastline, in terms of obviously getting 5-0'd, but there was a lot of opportunity to learn from Penta there, and I think if they could take that going forward and take that mentality, I'm definitely looking out for Millennium.
And of course, congratulations to Penta, who make it to the playoffs. They have secured their spot in the final top 4 in EU, leading into the qualifiers for Pro League finals in the US. So, thank you guys very much for watching our first match. We'll be ready for their second one in just a bit. It's Market Esports versus Team Oplon, and of course, it's Parker Mackay and our homeboy, Mr. Michael Stockley, who'll be bringing you that in just a few minutes. So stick around. We'll be back in just a bit.
Attack response, diffuser has been lost. 10 seconds to go. Defender is approaching the kill zone. Defender. Attack response, diffuser has been.
Welcome back to Rainbow Six Pro League, Playday number 3, EU. My name is Intero, and I am joined by Kickstar, or Michael Kickstar Stockley.
Hi, guys.
And if you didn't just tune in to what you saw with Penta and Millennium, what was a heck of a match?
It was a fantastic match. I think Millennium put up a lot more of a fight than people were expecting. Penta, a little bit of a hiccup there on console especially. But overall, a great match, and one you should definitely watch if you haven't already.
Fabian as Frost?
I really liked.
A+.
I liked his play with Frost. He did a really good job, hammering in the no extended barrel too. I think
didn't even need it.
Didn't even need it.
Didn't
I mean, the great redeeming value of that 9mm from Frost is it's got almost no recoil, so it's a headshot machine. I mean, you don't really need a heavy barrel to help you with that. So. Good
So,
play.
coming up, we have the Battle of the French. Again, 2 weeks ago, we saw two French teams compete against each other. Half of EU Pro League is French.
Yeah.
So it is not a surprise to see the French going up against the French. We have Oplon versus Mocket. For those that don't know, Oplon was basically the skeleton of Ares Esports and then got picked up by Lucky X. I don't know, Oplon. And then as for Mocket Esports, they just got into Pro League, and now they could potentially be going out.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Of course, one of these teams is facing relegations, as per usual with the loser bracket. So it's very frightening when you're in this situation. And you know, of course, it's going to be a little bit of love between the teams because they share the camaraderie of being all French. But at the same time, neither one of them is going to want to get backed out of Pro League this early on. So it's going to be a really intense battle. And I think these teams are definitely on the same level. And that's one of the things that's probably I think we're going to see map number 3 here.
Yeah, I would imagine that we're going to see that as well. Now, so far, of the 2 pre-relegation matches that we've seen, in North America, Ronin, the team that just made it into Pro League, is going to have to fight for their spot as they're now in relegations coming up in a couple weeks' time. For Latin America, the team that was known as MYP and now known as Red Canids also just got into Pro League, and they're going to have to fight for it. So that's 2 teams that have made it in this most previous season. We got another team today, and that is Mocket Esports. We're actually going to talk to Panix from Mocket first to see what he thinks about this matchup. How are you doing, Panix?
Hello, I'm doing good, and you?
We're doing very well. First of all, good luck today. We'll start that off. Now, your team made some roster changes. You've also made an org change. You're now competing as Mocket. This is your second matchup. You just made it into Pro League, and now you are potentially facing relegations. Talk about your thought process there. How do you prepare for a match like this?
Well, you prepare by watching the opponent's VODs. You prepare just, I don't know, like you even if it's like an important match, you shouldn't put the pressure too much because, yeah, next season's gonna be a 6-month season and it's important to win it. But if you put out too much pressure, you can crumble down. So it's not what we want to do. We think that we are better than Oplon for a fact, and we just want to play our game and beat them. Simple.
Well,
that's the strategy.
Well, it's definitely going to be an exciting match. We're expecting some fireworks between these 2 teams. Are there any changes that we're going to see from your team? Because you did add Sneaky to the team when you were known as Vitality before moving over to Mocket. Has there been any adjustment with him coming onto the roster? Anything that is going to be different from 2 weeks ago in your preparation against Oplon?
Since 2 weeks ago, no, we just have been working more and more with Sneaky because there's been like 4 weeks now, almost a month, that we're playing with Sneaky. We just like he's like still on free fragging with me as well, and we have Void, Rivan supporting us, enemy helping sometimes depending of the map and stuff. But yeah, we don't change. We just like trying to consolidate what we have. We adapt or add some things that we saw from last match against Penta. We could add a lot of strategy thanks to that match. So it's very cool. And we're just trying to go on a learning process through every match.
Well, best of luck in your matchup today. Do you have anything to say to your fans or the viewers who are watching?
Non, juste merci beaucoup à tous les Français. Thanks a lot for your interview and have a good cast.
Thanks so much, Panix. Good luck.
Thanks.
I like that he gave credit to Penta, because one thing that does get lost as we pull up the roster now for you for Mocket Esports is that even in victory and in defeat, there are lessons to be learned.
I mean, Panic's overall a very level-headed guy, as you can clearly tell from that interview, and definitely not a sore loser. But Ravon, Enemy, Voy, Panics, and Sneaky is going to be the Mocket Esports lineup. Of course, you have a pretty versatile roster here, and Panx really went over the roles of each of these players. But Sneaky, one of those players to note, I think he is, the thing is he's a fragger sort of player. He's the sort of guy who goes for those kills, but he hasn't been showing up so far. Of course, only the one match versus a very difficult team, we'll say that, against Penta. So there is a lot that you can't really glean from those statistics.
And it was a very fast match. It might have been our fastest EU match so far. You know, you go up against a red-hot Penta who do look like they've cooled off just based on their play today. And yeah, Mocket is... You review those VODs and you could see from the stat line across the screen some of those players, like Enemy, for example, only dropped 2 frags in that matchup. We know that he's a better player than 2 frags in one matchup, so expect them to come out swinging against Oplon today.
I mean, everybody has bad matches, right? And against a really good team, it's even more likely to happen that you're going to struggle just a little bit. So, yes, their opponents, Oplon, should get to them soon. And they are also a very fearsome lineup.
It's unfortunate for the teams that just make their way into Pro League having to square off against the #1 team. Now, I know that that's the nature of the seeding, but to basically have the team that's brand new to Pro League go up against the best team in the entire region right off the gate, especially in a shortened season like this, might not be their best opportunity to succeed, and now they're going to be fighting for their lives against Oplon. And speaking of which, we have Safiz up here. We'll be able to ask him a couple questions before the match. Hello, Safiz. How are you doing? Nice to see you again.
Hi, guys. Nice to see you.
So last week, or 2 weeks ago, rather, in the first battle of the French, we saw you play against Millennium, and it was exciting for all of us at home, but not the result that your team had obviously wanted. Going back, what are some things that you've seen against your play against Millennium? What were things that you learned, and what are things to focus on for this matchup against Mocket today?
What we have seen on the game after we play it was we didn't play our game like we used to. We tried to adapt something we don't know, so it didn't work, of course. But now we will not do the same mistakes today.
And that's going to be important as well. For a team like Mocket, who has a relatively new roster and have made role swaps after bringing Sneaky in, and with the pressure of potentially going to relegations and having your season end today, what preparation are we going to see from your team as a whole? How do you approach that, especially when there's really only one VOD available of Mocket, and that was against their match with Penta?
We really know each other. We practice a lot against them. We will play against them this week to Atlan, and we prepared very, very good. We have Sparkso and Raz who have done a really good job for us about their last game versus Penta. And we have tried some setups, and we will see if it works.
So maybe some new things debuted for you tonight in this match.
Yep.
So with that said, anything to say to the viewers or your fans before we conclude the interview?
Yeah, thanks for the support, and thanks to Upland to keep trusting in us, and let's go.
Best of luck. Best of luck to them.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks. So both teams going to be probably trying some new things, which makes a lot of sense. Here's the 5 gentlemen that will be playing for Oplon today: Jacques, Michi, Safiz, Spoken, and Aprox. And they didn't have the best result against Millennium.
I mean, it's fair. I mean, you saw how Millennium played against Penta just now.
Right.
They are a formidable foe, so it's totally understandable that they would struggle against a team like that.
And it's tough always coming into the very first matchup, especially against Oplon, who have 2 new members of that roster. When Millennium, you know, had a bit of originally a disappointing result in last season. They originally, if we recall, Millennium was actually set to fight in relegations last season. Due to external forces, they ended up getting saved, and they've played a lot better. And I would say they've probably redeemed their last season play.
Oh, that's, yeah, absolutely.
Far and away. So with Oplin, it's hard to tell. Did Oplin underperform, or was it just Millennium being Millennium?
And the thing is that no matter who wins here, they're going to have to go against Millennium later in the bracket. So there's going to be an uphill struggle for both of these teams. But let's take a look at the bans for this match and see what maps we're going to be going to and what maps we're not going to be going to.
Mocket gets first ban and first pick as well. Consulate, Border, Skyscraper, Cafe, Clubhouse, and Bank all gone. So, the matches we just saw, the only potential repeat would be Coastline, Chalet, and Oregon are up there as well for us to go to. And
I mean, Coastline as a map, wow, right out the gate there, Mocket going to decide to go to Coastline first. It's seen a lot more play lately.
It has. And I think that, speaking in privately to a lot of teams, Coastline is a safer pick for some of them because they know that there are teams who don't practice it. And just by nature of the ban system, there's going to be probably at least one counter ban. There's probably going to be at least one comfort ban. So, for example, you hate playing Chalet, you're going to ban Chalet. You know that the team you're playing against is great on Border, you're going to ban Border. That only leaves you with one left. If a team's got like a 6 or 7 map pool, you've got maps like Coastline that you can then pull out and say, we're comfortable to go onto this. We know they can't play it. And honestly, I think that's what we just saw. Penta 5-0'd Millennium, and I think Millennium just doesn't play Coastline.
Yeah, that could absolutely be the case. And, you know, being in the French community, there's a little bit of internal scrimming going on there, of course. Right. So it could be that Mocket are trying to do something different, catch Oplin off guard on a map that I would argue at this point is the sort of map that's in meta enough to justify every team getting on board with it.
Absolutely. It's, you know, you've got your almost instant bans. You know, you see that Skyscraper is so infrequently played, you know, by most teams. Chalet hasn't seen that high of a pick rate either. But with a map like Coastline, you need to be prepared. We saw it a lot at the 6 Invitational. Now we've seen it a lot this season as well. It's one that teams are starting to warm up to too, and that's something that's important to speak on.
We also have Chalet in this match. I believe it's the decider match, or decider map, excuse me. So if we get to it, we will have the French face off on France. And it is, again, like you say, a map that's kind of outside of the meta. I mean, it favors heavily for the defense roaming upstairs or even downstairs, just in general roaming. And because that's so heavily countered right now by the operators we see played a lot on attack, you know, it doesn't seem to be favored.
No. And it's been very interesting watching what the actual new operators and changes to them have done to maps, because it seems like it was only 2 or 3 seasons ago where Chalet held the 3rd highest pick rate of any map after Oregon and Border, and now it's fallen. And it's, you see Consulate, you see Bank, you even see Coastline, and Clubhouse in particular have soared back up into those top 5 pick rates to inhabit that sphere depending on what region you're in.
I mean, you have a lot of maps that tend to do stuff like that. Oregon, for example. Consulate's always kind of been a level staple, but Clubhouse. I mean, Clubhouse, early seasons, way back, used to be one of the most played maps in all of Pro League, and then it saw a dip, and now it's seeing a bit of a resurgence. I mean, it's, you know, there's a little bit of a, there is a lot of maps that tend to fluctuate like that.
And it's funny because, you know, the advent of Ying, the changes to Glass, Blitz being as accessible as he is, you know, Lion and Finka both having a place on Clubhouse. It's a bit surprising that teams consistently still go to it and don't ban it at all. You gave us your thoughts, though, on what you thought would be happening today, Mocket versus Oplin, and I'm actually very interested. You're going to go with Mocket, 64 to 36%.
That's a very close vote right there.
That is.
Yeah. So, of course, both these teams played against very aggressive and formidable opponents in their first bracket, so not a whole lot to go on from those matches, but clearly Mocket having the public opinion in their favor.
I would say Mocket as an organization is probably a little bit more known than Oplin. The team itself, they played at the 6 Invitational. You know, they've got players on it that are known very, very well within the community. But we're going to launch into Coastline in just a moment. And you can see the beautiful beaches of Spain as map number 1 between Oplin and Mocket. And no matter what, as you said earlier on, we're going to have another matchup of exclusively French teams, because Millennium awaits the victor of this map and matchup, or not this map, just the matchup.
Yeah.
Well,
it's not they're not going to butt in
not yet.
In the middle of this.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Soon, though. Next season, I mean, the format for the next season is extremely exciting. But in this match here, we have Mocket starting on attack. Oplin, they will go to defense just to start us off, and it's going to be a penthouse projector defense for the beginning. Now, this is, I think, in general, probably the go-to site for a lot of teams, especially ones that don't know the map as well, as it is the, I think, overall in the community, most favored bomb site.
It seems to be the safest default choice, but as we saw from the Penta matchup, and as we've seen previously, especially from Penta versus EG, almost all these sites are viable to a certain extent. You know,
absolutely.
I would say probably Kitchen and Delivery is the one that is played the least, but you've got the hookah site upstairs, you've got the double bars downstairs, and then, of course, Penthouse, where they are right now in Projector. Interestingly enough, the site that they're on right now has probably the most varying callouts for its sites of any other site in the entire game. People call it completely different.
I mean, Projector is either Projector, Home Theater, or just, you know, of course, the A site.
I've heard Purple.
Purple, yeah. And then you've got Master Bedroom, Penthouse, Bed, just... There's conflicting calls. I mean, Circle Couch. I know
Circle
that was
Couch.
the original VIP call, and then I think most people switched to VIP, but yes, very varying calls, that's for sure. First EE1D, as you can see Mocket trying to entry into Sunrise Bar. They're not going to find any defenders here, but notice an open drop and some spray coming from the blue stairs, which is going to prompt them to some of the Mocket positions.
And a Finka Blitz combo, which has reared its head a number of times, because Finka's ability allows you to ADS faster, and that affects shield time too. So Blitz can lower that shield and get his pistol out and shoot you before it's even visible on your screen. Safiz, who had just given us the interview, will punish Voy. The Thermite goes off the board, and Thermite not crucial for this site, though very useful on taking out that wall inside of Circle Couch, as we call it, or VIP, as the Valkyrie of Michi, goes down as well.
I think VIP is just a little bit easier.
VIP is so much easier.
So much.
And speaking of callouts, let's not forget the most illustrious callout in all of Coastline, the Lamborghini doorway.
2 for Safiz with a well-placed C4 that appeared to be from below through the drop down. Enemy trying to refrag. He will get spoken right up in that Pulse's face, but he's been put down to low HP, and whichever defender should engage him next will likely have a nice and easy time of shooting his feet.
Safiz just completely falls off there as well. Doesn't want to challenge the Blitz, even though enemy is very low on health. There is no assurance that the Mute will be able to win that fight, and gets back into sight with a minute left. You don't want to possibly be losing a roamer or one of your defenders when you know the push is going to come, and as it is, they're circling around to go in, and it looks like it will be a push through VIP, as they still only have 2 left, but 0 EE1Ds available for them too.
There's one in VIP, and from behind, Safiz gets a double kill. That's 4 for him in the round. What a spec. Oh, it's an ace! Correction! Didn't even see the first one. But overall, Safiz, a fantastic round. He's got to be feeling good about that.
That's a little bit of celebration there, as he'd gotten the I guess, lead-off kill for his team.
Didn't even see that lead off. It was so early in the round. He played a very dynamic round overall. He was positioned in bar over by Sunrise, but not the Sunrise, the blue bar. And then he rotated all the way over to security and then back into sight into VIP. He kind of went around the world on the map.
He's getting his step counts in for the day.
Yes.
And on top of that, racking up the numbers, he will get an ace, which is something that you don't see every single day. Now, speaking of the flexibility of these sites earlier in the matchup, Mocket is going to opt to go for the double bars, Blue and Sunrise bar, downstairs as their first defense. A castle is almost always integral. That's Voice Operator, so nothing too surprising there. Likely we'll see one castle barricade go in the doorway that enemy just passed through. That is the Sunrise bar doorway. It's usually going to be aided with an impact hole to either the right or where you see Revan just now, but it looks like they'll use a mirror there. Instead, there's the impact hole. And we'll see if any more castle barricades go downstairs.
You can see they're also leaving one panel unreinforced in the blue bar. That's going to allow for a nice line of sight behind the actual bar itself, because holding in there as a defender is very dangerous. It's nice and easy, though, to keep yourself alive in Garden. Usually, you aren't going to have a lot of people pressuring you from the attack if you play that position. Now, Safiz going to be on the window outside, and one of his teammates that's spoken will be eliminated by Sneaky, going for Sneaky spawn peek. Going to work out for him. IQ off the board, and that means that some of the electronics will likely see a little bit more lifespan.
Yeah. IQ is a bit of an interesting choice on this site. Probably just a safe pick, though. Mocket will answer back as Revan takes out Jacques, but the defuse going down Michi isn't able to get it off as Mocket continues to punish every single thing that Oplon is throwing at them. That is 4 unanswered kills, leaving just a procs left.
Wow.
And Panics goes for the kill outside. Mocket, a 5-0 at... Not a single one of them goes down, so...
That right there was absolute dominance. And I mean, you have to hand it to the defense there for just keeping the aggression up. Mocket really showing Oplon that they have what it takes. I especially like what Mocket did also in that first attack round where they were clearing. They did a pretty good job. They just got picked apart by Safiz. And I don't think we've seen a single kill for anyone but Safiz on Oplon now.
No, that would be it because it was a flawless round in favor of Mocket on the last one. So still, Safiz the only member of Oplon. They'll go to defense, and we'll see that Blitz, Finka, Lion combo. As I had said that potentially this kitchen delivery was, you know, the least favored. And take a look at where they're going to go, to the one site that I said you don't see a lot of. A castle being run here as well. Castle is an operator who has made a bit of a resurgence himself.
Impacts.
Ability to shut down a push, and given how push heavy the attackers are, those castle barricades will slow them down. I would say probably more effectively than certain trap operators would.
Yeah, his castle barricades are definitely influential quite a lot. I mean, you're seeing also more operators being brought that have soft destruction capabilities in order to counter that. Zofia is going to be the example on Mocket's side of things, but it's also a case of the impacts. You need a certain amount of impacts on your team to be able to maneuver properly as a defender, and oftentimes you will see the castle put his barricades in sensible locations, you know, to help the anchor or potentially even the roamers, and then go roam himself. And I think that might be what we're seeing here. You know, no matter what, the castle barricade impact combo definitely going to be helping out Oplon a lot.
And Coastline happens to be a map that you see him quite a bit on. So for, you know, there's certain maps where you see operators play a bigger role than others. You know, Oregon is a map where Mira is almost always a must pick on both of those sites. Where Chalet, there are people who won't necessarily run a Mira on Chalet, depending on what site they are. Castle happens to see a lot of presence on Coastline. For just a second, Spoken is revealed due to the EE1D rattling off from above, but still, probably the slowest round that we've seen so far of the two.
Yep. Absolutely. The defense playing passively and the attack taking it slow. Sneaky will get Safiz, so that's the only player on Oplon to get a kill so far eliminated. It's going to now have to come down to his 4 teammates to show up. Voy also gets a proc, so it's not happening yet for Oplon.
That must have droned him out, as you can see no silhouette whatsoever. And you'd mentioned that the castle typically does roam, and look at exactly what Michi is doing. He's playing up top in luggage, and he's there to greet anybody that pushes in through Aquarium, or Aqua as it's called as a shorthand.
You know, it's also called Aqua Hall in potentially luggage. And we talked about varying calls, and there's just so many on this map.
I feel like it could be, I don't know if you would, I don't know what your weigh-in on this would be, but due to how new Coastline is, there hasn't been any established baseline for what to call everything, the same way other maps have.
I mean, in a way, but also a lot of calls are just internal as per team. Absolutely. They don't see a lot of public use. I mean, when you go and watch your favorite Pro League streamers, sometimes they'll be making calls, but oftentimes they're just interacting with the chat. I mean, it's hard for the community to pick up on some of these pro teams' calls, so at times they'll just make up their own, or they'll use whatever the map tells you. And that's not something that everyone uses.
Panics gets Michi, and now Oplon still is yet to get a kill outside of round number 1. Thermite is being played by Voy, and Oplon will still not be able to find any as Voy takes him down, leaving just Jacques, who does get one onto enemy before getting traded off by Sneaky, and now Mocket has 2 in a row. I was just going to mention how a Thermite sees virtually no use whatsoever. The Lion just testing the durability of that Blitz shield of his teammate before taking Mira out of the fight. And they use that Thermite charge above to put pressure on the actual site itself. A smarter play given the fact that Thermite isn't going to have much usage outside of that.
I mean, when you're trying to open up a soft wall or floor, then it doesn't matter what kind of destruction you have as long as you can destruct. And obviously, just a little bit of a mishap there from the defender who was attempting to disable the Thermite through the floor. Just could not happen. So, well done overall to Mocket yet again, clearing out the Oplon defense pretty efficiently, but it actually worked out for them this time.
So Jacques gets his team on the board, and Mocket going to defense. It's been pretty much a team effort there. The droning has been very well in conjunction with the Lion pushes, and you saw that they were able to get 2 kills from the preliminary entry through Hookah last round. Now Mocket, who had gone down to the double bars, and I would argue that in the second round, it wasn't so much necessarily just Mocket's defense, but Oplon tossed themselves at that site, trying to get in as quickly as they could, and Mocket was just there to greet them effectively. Now we'll see how Mocket does on their second defense. Is Oplon going to be as aggressive? Are they going to bare their teeth the same way that they did 2 rounds ago, or is Mocket going to be able to counter it? That's what we're about to find out.
Well, they're on a different bomb site, and over by Penthouse, there isn't as much run-out potential. You have just about the same amount of spawn peak potential from the windows, but if you're trying to go outside the building, I think it's a little bit less diverse. I mean, you can potentially utilize the balcony, specifically the southwest balcony, the northwest balcony, to counter the north balcony with a nice, well-timed run-out from Hookah. However, overall, in general, I would say if you're trying to run out on the east side, you're putting a lot at risk.
Now, Jackal's C7E is one of the most preferred guns by pros if you speak with them for Jackal's usage, but we see a PDW on Safiz. Possibly looking for some caliber-based destruction from that gun and the fact that it has such a large magazine to be able to tear through soft walls?
I mean, I think the main reason is just bigger mag, more headshots. That's usually, I mean, the C7E is a really, here you go. There's that exact run out we were talking about earlier. It didn't actually work out for Panics, but yes, I would say it's just more bullets, more headshots, more potential to kill the enemy. The C7E is used because it melts people. It is a very efficient gun for killing in any context, whether it be to the head or the torso.
Jacques goes for the very long bullet pen, but there are indestructible walls in its path.
Yeah.
As Sneaky the Mira takes out one member of Oplon.
I mean, you missed all the shots you don't take, right? And speaking of not hitting your shots, Jock's gonna bounce the lifeline off the door directly back into his face, and Michi will get Voy, so even trade so far.
They'll lose the mute, which is not dire because likely those mute jammers are down. The actual operator himself has a gadget that persists, so it's not like you're looking at a Pulse who dies with their gadget or Smoke who dies with their gadget, and it's especially critical.
So Jock has control over Hookah, but only because it was completely forfeited. Oh, that's the wrong one. We've all done that. You know, we've all done it. So a trade elsewhere, Sneaky will get one before being traded back on from Smokin. So it's still an even count, but only a minute left. Ravon will get Michi as he pushes into the site, and that's a good job from the Pulse. And from Blue Stairs, Jock just checking the wrong corner, having a bit of a hiccup on that entry, which will leave Spoken, the last attacker, and another hiccup. On the side of Oplon, Mocket will take another round, and now 3-1.
It does appear that Mocket are firing on all cylinders, and I mean, I know a lot of people express some gripes over how ACOGs don't really have much of a downside, or so they say. That right there is a perfect example of how it does. He zoomed in and just at that range could not see the smoke to aim effectively. So close. If you throw a hollow or a reflex or a red dot on that, there's a very good chance that IQ possibly could have won that fight.
It certainly would have been a lot easier for IQ to come out on top there with a lower mag scope, but I know there are players out there that argue, and understandably so, it's kind of a art playing with an ACOG in a way at close range like that. It's something you have to get used to, but you can make it work. It's just difficult. The reason that I think most people say it doesn't have a downside is because it's so much more efficient at your medium to long ranges.
Yeah, and I mean, on top of that, you did get hit in the chest with a shotgun from Smoke, which you really only have one opportunity to be able to win that fight because that blast is...
You get a headshot on the first bullet, or you're dead.
Or that's it.
Yeah.
So back to bedroom we will go. Master bedroom upstairs as Oplon has now lost 3 rounds in a row. You saw the scoreboard just a moment before. And Safiz right now has 5 kills that he got that ace. There have only been 3 frags in the next 3 rounds since for Oplon. If that trend continues, they are going to continue to lose. And Mocket is very briskly running away with this, at least for the time being. And they have run an identical composition on attack 3 rounds now. That Zofia and Thermite bookended by the 2 brand new CBRN or C-Burn operators and then Blitz.
I really do like the lineup that Mocket is using. You could argue for a Hibana rather than a Thermite, but as long as you get it one operator on hard destruction, it really doesn't matter. Safi's going to be spotted out by the drone from below, prompting him to rotate. He's got a lot of options though from above. He can jump down into garden and dress the defender or the attackers directly, or simply just rotate over to hookah and play it safe, which is what he's going to choose to do.
Using those mute jammers as a utility and aid to roam is something that I think we've seen a number of teams use for mute, is that you can use them on site, as you said, or just aiding them. You know, I believe it was Penta last season who were able to outfox their opposition by putting 3 mute jammers upstairs on console and being able to roam basically from zone to zone to zone undetected. E1D will go down 60 seconds into the round, and I like the way they've been using Enemy basically to just completely clear everything out. He is essentially a drone with a shield in front of his face, and has just been able to take entire swaths of this map under his control at a just a bit above a 1 speed limit.
Yeah, you got to really appreciate people who play Blitz like Enemy, I mean, and like Julio, for example, really knowing what their role is and how to execute it. But they have left 1 player on the roam, that's Hafiz, inside of hookah, and that isn't being checked, it looks like. Maka just choosing to leave that Oplan player all by his lonesome, which is going to be a potentially really devastating late flank.
Doesn't look like Revan understands that that one part of the ceiling is not breakable. He will get it right the second time around.
Oh, this is huge.
Spoken has taken some damage. Now, I was going to say, Thermite is not usually an operator that has a lot of viability on Coastline as a whole, but they've opened up that wall inside a projector. Sneaky had gotten the first kill, and that is on a prox, the smoke off the board. Spoken, who has now joined the fray, but he's done so at the top of Cool Vibe Stairs. That was where you'd seen Safiz playing earlier. He takes down the Lion, and that is a huge pick. Now, 50 seconds, though. Lion is integral for you getting your plant down, and it looks like they have an opportunity to push in as the Thermite Avoy is going to jump in as well, quite literally through a window.
Yeah, and unfortunately, a flashbang goes off to blind Enemy with so little time. This could actually slow things down quite a lot for Maka. They need to start pushing into the site. Spoken from behind in the main lobby, has the C4 ready and primed. Nobody's watching this flank. Here it comes. And 1 onto Panics, but now the flank watch is there. Jock also gets Void with his own C4. Coming down the main lobby stairs is going to be Ravon, who refrags onto the Pulse in the hallway. Enemy able to even things out, and Ravon, another one for him. Now it's all up to Michi, and he's full blind. What has just happened? A 2 versus 4, I believe, just happened. It was Mocket with an amazing comeback.
All because you don't push a blitz like that. Ended up getting blind, and then Ravon at the bottom of the stairs, able to win a gunfight that probably should not have gotten away with in the main lobby. Now Mocket has basically made Oplan look like they didn't show up at all for this match over the last 4 rounds. Said that Mocket had gone back and rewatched their VODs. They had prepared. They're still getting used to the fact that Sneaky's only been on the team. And right now, it does look like whatever they've fixed is absolutely working, though for Oplan. You remember Safiz had said that they're going to be trying some new things today? It's a gamble that you take. If you're going to unveil brand new strategies, you better make sure that they can work, because this is a major game for them.
It's also important to remember that this is Mocket's map pick, so they are going to the map that they wanted to go to. They are going to the one they're more comfortable on, and as you say, it could absolutely be the case that Oplan is not very well versed on this map. As you see Mocket setting up their very adept hold for the double bar. I really do like the way that they're doing this. It looks like it's well rehearsed, and props to Mocket for that. Now, last time they went here, they absolutely destroyed Oplan. They didn't lose a single operator, if I recall correctly. And yeah, there wasn't much said from Oplan. They kind of mostly were outside the building and died one by one.
To be fair, they did get very aggressive. They tried to take the front entrance of Sunrise Bar, and they got paid for it. And at that point, Mocket took full advantage of it. So we'll see if Oplan's going to play with a bit more restraint this round and not just feed themselves into gunfire.
I mean, hopefully so, of course. Does look like Mocket have a distinct advantage here on this map, but like to see Oplan at least put up a little bit more of a fight. Default camera left alive out on the southwest. Eventually, hopefully, we'll be finished. There we go. Jock gets it. But that's 30 seconds into the round. A lot of information has just been gathered from Mocket. That's going to mean that they are aware Oplan is pushing from the west side.
And we talked about how Oplan played so aggressively last time around. It's now Mocket the one who are playing as equally aggressive just on defense.
Yeah.
Sneaky, who is currently leading the game in frags, was playing up on that hookah balcony, looking to see if he could get an early pick. That actually would have been spoken if the engagement had taken place, and that would have been a crucial first casualty for the defenders.
So we've had a whole minute transpire so far, and really all that Oplan has really done is sit outside of the building looking for picks. They do have Michi, who looks like he's trying to push in elsewhere, along with a Prox, but they have taken kitchen control, but that's not really a whole lot to work with.
No, and we see this every single time a team is facing match point. They play very cautiously. They potentially overthink it, which can lose them the game, not just the round. But first push is going to go, and Safiz and Spoken Go and Mocket are going to continue their winning ways, at least for that fight. Their first encounter will claim 2, and now add a third, as there are only 2 members left of Oplan. Michi is down, and it's going to be the Zofia of Jacques as the last member up. This game is all but over, or at least this match, unless Jacques can get an ace clutch. He takes 1 down and goes for a second onto the Rook. He'll get it, but panics on the stairs, is eliminating Jacques, and Oplan fall after taking the first round, lose 5 in a row. And Mocket takes their map of Coastline.
I mean, not a whole lot to talk about there. You had the camera left alive for a little bit too long, telling Mocket that, oh yeah, they're definitely coming from the west, no doubt about that. Then you had the castle barricade in kitchen, which had to be destroyed by explosives, which prompted prompted Mocket to Oplan's push from the kitchen. So they knew, okay, no doubt about that. And then they just hold those 2 pushes. It's really that simple.
That was an astonishing and very quick first match, I will put it that way. So
how long was that? 15?
It feels like it was maybe like 20 minutes.
20?
It could be wrong. I haven't been doing full timekeeping. But
it wasn't that long.
This is something we've seen all season, though, is that not only are the games shorter due to how aggressive this meta is, but also that, you know, the rounds are so much faster. Even matches that are going to the 3rd map are taking place faster than previous seasons when you've only had 2 maps go. So right now, all of those rounds, very brisk. And for Oplan, what do you look at? Is that just simply not knowing the map? If so, why do you let Coastline go through?
It absolutely could be not knowing the map. As for letting Coastline go through, I mean, they banned out Cafe, Club, and Bank, and it's entirely possible all of those were preference picks. Maps that they also possibly don't practice and possibly aren't comfortable on, or they just fear Mocket's versions of each of those maps. So, and of course, being a map that is slightly, I mean, we can't say outside the meta because Coastline gets played quite a lot these days, but being a map that possibly isn't practiced as much, Oplan might have thought that Mocket would just ban it for them.
I would say it's not outside the meta. What I would say is that when teams are starting to begin, you know, cataloging which maps they can and can't play on, Coastline is not usually in the top half of that list. I think that's slowly going to start to change as more and more teams are showing that, hey, Coastline is necessary or else you're going to lose.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something you have to think about. But our second map will be Oregon, and Oregon is a map that is, I think, very well versed for every team. There are some teams that are much more proficient at it, but we're hopefully going to see a little bit more of an even contest here on the second map.
I can't think of a single team outside of maybe Evil Geniuses whose play on Oregon is substandard. Most teams have at least the ability to hack it on Oregon, the same way that you don't on Skyscraper, the same way that you don't on Coastline. You can't just pick up Coastline and play it if you've not practiced it.
And clarification on what he just said is Evil Geniuses is Oregon play is substandard to their normal play. Like, it's not their favorite map, I think is what you're trying to say.
They have been banning it recently, and I think they started to ban it as well after not having the success that they wanted at the 6 Invitational. They started adding it to their ban list based, I think, on preference more than anything.
Probably right there. And as we load into the second map, Oregon, we will have Mocket on attack, Oplan on defense, and interestingly, a laundry room defense to start us off. So, I mean, just preference, I guess.
It's got to be. This is a site that we have said time and time again is now no longer the easiest to defend site on Oregon. I think some teams would argue that their defense on laundry is not as great as it is upstairs in kids' dorms, but with the changes that have happened this season, laundry room is almost assuredly a death sentence for teams. There are very few successful defensive holds on this site.
Yeah, it's extremely difficult to manage right now, and you can see that Mocket have a lineup that will, I mean, it's going to be pretty good to attack onto the basement, but they don't have, I don't think they have any smokes, so huge risk from Mocket, not bringing a single set of smokes that I can see on the first round. You know, you got to be ready for the potential basement hold, but they do have the lifeline, so at least there's that.
A Capitao or a Ying is almost always seen, at least on this push. I mean, for Mocket, or even a Blitz, because Blitz does bring smokes too, and he's particularly powerful on this site. The composition that Mocket is running, I think, has a lot of versatility. They might have expected going upstairs, and oh my, Spoken, what are you doing? Sneaky gets the leadoff kill in match number 2.
They're going to check that, man.
Vigil is invisible to drones, not to spawn peaks.
Yeah.
And Vigil, who was inside of the cafeteria, or the dining hall, rather, gets picked apart.
So I was going to say, you know, also people will sometimes bring a Jackal because he also has smokes and he's good at clearing roamers, but there goes one of the roamers. Safiz will respond, though. That's very good for Oplon as they get sneaky. Oh, that's actually huge. This, well, no, not the singular hard destructor. There is a thermite on Mocket's side, so they're going to be able to open up the things they need, but they won't be able to open up all of the avenues that they potentially could. One response as well, though, I believe that was Panics.
Safiz dies, and I was going to ask, are we going to see a repeat of round number 1 on Coastline, where Safiz got the first kill for his team and then tore the rest of them apart on route to an ace? But no, Safiz will no longer be a factor in round number 1, and so the Mute and the Vigil both gone for Oplon, and they hold a disadvantage of 1 in terms of numbers. Mocket still has 4 operators up, and they have, most importantly, I believe, all of those EE1Ds in their line.
You know, that round where Safiz got the ace in the very first round was not only the only round that Oplon have won in this entire match so far, but also the only round that Oplon looked even remotely in control.
There has been some shakiness from their team, and that could also just be the fact that, hey, they've made, you know, some roster changes. They're still trying to find their footing there. They're playing on a map pool that might not be to their strength. And then, of course, the changes with how different this style of play has been so far over the last 3 weeks in comparison to previous seasons.
We do have a lot of teams that have noticeably not been able to adapt to the new meta. Void will get a pick onto a Prox, though, and now a 4 versus 2 Oplon in dire straits.
It's been a couple rounds now where a Prox has died far too early for a smoke, and you don't have the opportunity to choke off those entry points. Jacques tosses a C4 out, and it finds a target. That's Panics, who will not be a factor any longer. Mira and Revan will tussle. That's the Mira of Jacques as enemy comes up and takes out Michi. It's just the Mira left. They know where she is. They'll circle in, and with a little bit of bullet pen, Revan takes it, and now Mocket have 6 rounds in a row. Oplon just looked like they got swarmed there and had really no response. It has not been an enjoyable showing for Oplon fans so far.
Absolutely not.
And they're going to have to right this ship very quickly, or else I feel that Mocket's just going to snowball and they will continue on rolling towards a victory.
I mean, there were a lot of things that were going in favor of Oplon in that round. Of course, the response from Safiz, able to even things out and to get the Habana. That meant one thing in particular. It meant there couldn't be attack from the main lobby. Now, on the note of sites,
Kitchen.
Can.
Wow.
And a team ace, actually, for Mocket. So look at that. So 2 rounds and 2 aces for round number 1 on Coastline. Safiz got an ace himself, and that was a team ace. So
let's briefly talk about Kitchen. Of course, this is a site that you don't see very often.
Ever, really.
Ever, really? Yeah, I mean, I think we've seen it a couple times, but it's just a very rare site. There's a couple things to note. I want to take a look at that wall where you see the desk next to it in the A-bomb site. That wall is usually where you're going to see most of the defuse plants go down. The attack strategy is almost always push in through Junk Tower, open up the wall from Junk into that indestructible wall, and then just plant under cover of smoke, or you don't even need smoke, really. But I like how Mocket's holding this. See, they've opened up the walls rather than reinforcing them. That's going to mean that they can play from inside of lockers where you see Sneaky, and from lockers you can push up aggressively crouch level and use those little things in the hallway there as cover from the main doorway to potentially stop a defuse plant in the late push. It's very dangerous, but it's doable.
A part of why this site is so difficult, and it looks like they see the Legion sitting on his camera, and that's one thing that I don't think a lot of people know about IQ, is that if you are sitting on your cam, it gets picked up by the fact that you have your cell phone out.
Electronics, man.
I was talking to Ranger actually about this, and we were talking about cafe and on bakery in particular, and his exact words were, I don't like sites where you have to rely on jumping out of windows. And this is a site where jumping out of windows does aid the defense quite a lot. There's a number of opportunities. All of back tower can allow you to jump out as well and get lines of sight on small tower and that push through the doorway into dining hall. They've pushed the Legion out of bathroom, however, and now have taken control.
This is Oplon conscious of the defense strat, aware that they need to take control over lockers in order to push their way in through Junk Tower and get that plant. And I really like this pick apart from Oplon. Despite them not getting any kills, they have the control that they really do need.
And they'll start off, you hear 2 X-Kairos being deployed in the background. 1 smoke from Void had gone down. That was just simply to try and slow a push. Spoken, rather. Not Spoken. Spoken.
Spock. Is it Spock?
It's Spoken. Has the
long
ability
and frag.
basically the attacker's version of a pulse, except for gadgets. Being able to sit there and spot where they are most stacked up with their utility in hopes of aiding that push. You'd seen 1 grenade go off, and interestingly enough, Sneaky at the top of White Stairs. Spoken's grenade will find its target. That was Voy, who was playing on the table just by the entrance into the front of Kitchen, and he will pick up a 2nd kill onto Sneaky, who, for some reason, pushes at the top of White Stairs. Now Revan showing that damage fall off from the Vector as he can't connect on Hibana. And puzzlingly, now Safiz is able to try and outduel Revan, but cannot do it, and Revan gets taken out by Jacques. So Oplan having a better round that they have had in a very long time.
So the retake now from Enemy and Panics. Enemy gets down, Panics the last alive, and he is dispatched by Michi. So Spoken, indeed, living long and fragging. He got 3 in that round with a great position. The proximity play in that site the proximity play in that site is unlike any other, I would say, because you see a lot of those positions, for example, the smoke, playing on the desk next to the indestructible wall. That position is essential. You need someone on defense to play there because he can do a couple things. He can deny the immediate push into the hallway. As a smoke, he can deny the plant on the other side of the wall. There's a lot of versatility for that player. And he can also deny the push into lockers. So that grenade from Spoken was oh so important.
I really hope people appreciate that pun.
You know, you set it up, so good one.
You could call him Spocken. Now, Oplan, who has not, I guess, learned potentially from their mistakes, will go back downstairs. Now, if I recall correctly, we saw this earlier on in the week. It was Ronan who went down to Laundry twice, and both times lost. And then in their death throes, on their what would end up being the final round, they decided to go upstairs.
And they lost anyway.
Their chances weren't any better up there, but you have to wonder that maybe it could have just simply been an issue with tilt. Maybe they could have been in their own head, and at that point, maybe they could have fared better if they had gone up there early. Oplan, who did not look that confident downstairs, will try it again and hope for better results this time. They did just get a decently impressive win after you might argue that Maka gifted it to them by going with a site that you don't usually go with.
I honestly think it was just the site. A little bit of a... I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it, but a little bit of a mistake there from Maka. We'll leave it at that. But yes, going downstairs yet again. I was trying to say, you know, Oplan, last time they went here, early on, it seemed like they had a lot of things going in their way. They got the refrag from Safiz. They got the Hibana, which meant that it had to be a construction push. Otherwise, the attack would have been very, very bottlenecked. And they still could not hold out, despite knowing exactly what they needed to deal with. So they're going to have to show us something different here in this round, and at least Mocket is mixing things up. They're going for a totally different attack, clearing in through the kitchen to start us off.
The Vigil and the Ash will duel, and Panics wins that one. The Bandit will expose himself, and 2 very early kills for Mocket as Oplan finds himself down, and Panics, what a shot through the wall into Pantry. Safiz falls, and only 2 members of Oplan are left with 2 minutes to go in the round.
That was a juicy engagement there for Mocket.
They just jump right in and using that blitz essentially as a shield for the entire team.
Props to Enemy really for his shield play so far. He's been doing a great job. So you do have 2 of the most ideal operators left alive to hold the site, but against 5, it doesn't seem likely. And I do believe Sneaky still has his lifelines, so he's going to be able to disorient whoever's playing behind the mirror window.
They also have the 2 smokes from Blitz.
Yep.
One thing to keep in mind, Jacques was up top. Now, they'd opened up one of the hatches for rotates on defense. I was wondering if Jacques was going to sit up in Meeting Hall to try and deny them from getting any more hatches, but I think he realizes that it's not a smart move. And here will come all of that disruption that you mentioned. 1 smoke will choke off Aprox. He doesn't know where the push is coming from. And now another one is going to go down. Aprox will have to get pushed out as Enemy goes over and plants just in front of the laundry bins. Can Jacques get up in time to throw the C4? No, Panics is there. An Enemy goes down though, so they will deny that diffuser plant off the smoke of Aprox, who had to take matters into his own hands. But Sneaky just pushes around the corner, and Aprox lasts no longer. Mocket take round number 3. And it has been, right now, all attack.
I mean, really, it's been all market. We did see one win earlier, the previous round, of course. But it was the site selection, a little bit of mistake there, I would say. I like the creativity, but overall, a mistake, clearly. But that was the only round that Oplan's won on this map, and the second round overall that they've managed to win. So, again, Oplan really struggling here. I mean, I think that's kind of the story of this match so far. We're going to see a laundry room defense from Market as their first mainline site, which is, again, we talked about kind of interesting. Nobody has gone upstairs yet.
How peculiar that is to live in a world where we are questioning the defense's commitment to a site that used to be the best site on the entire map.
I mean, these things, they change, right? And they're so regional.
There's an ebb and flow.
There's an ebb and flow. And they're also, again, they're regional. So like some seasons, some regions will like one site, then they'll like the other. It just comes down to where you are and who you scrim with, really, and how those scrims play into your meta. These are both French teams. They must have their own internal meta in the French region, as that's who, you know, often those are the teams they scrim against. So there's going to be a little bit of that story shining through in this match. Clearly, they like the basement.
And it was also Safiz who said that they have scrimmed with, and then we'll play them on the French land that is coming up. So yes, these teams are at least somewhat aware of the strategies that they run. It should be no surprise there.
Yeah.
The real story, though, is how triumphantly Market has been able to rack up all of these round victories. I think we were expecting a much closer matchup. The community, who doesn't always get it right on these votes, so far nailing it.
Yeah, I was really thinking that this is going to be a third map from the play that we've seen from these teams in the past. I mean, sure, it was a bit of a one-sided match for both of the opponents that these guys played against in the first bracket. You know, Millennium and Penta, they did seem pretty dominant. But at the same time, you know, it just figured that this would be a little bit closer. I mean, there's still time for Oplan to start their comeback, and they are going to lose a little bit of HP early on, though, on Michi. So at least in this round, it's not looking so great. They do have the control they want below the top floor, but it's not a defense of the top floor, it's a defense of the bottom floor. So just really a lot of time being wasted.
One thing to watch out for is how important early picks have been.
Yes.
The team that has gotten the early pick, to the best of my number counting right now, has won all but one round of this entire game, and that includes all of Coastline too. So we are in a situation now where teams don't really have that opportunity to take those chances because it seems like they just fall apart after losing one. And speaking of early picks, a Prox will go down, and he has been dying at the start of the round very early, sometimes as entry, and another member, Oplan, goes down too. A great toss from what appeared to be enemy, but Jacques, a flick, and Voice Head is gone. They're now even at 4 apiece as they need to pick up Spoken. He is bleeding out on the floor just outside of Kids Dorms.
You could see enemy trying to protect his teammate in Big Kids Dorms by covering from Generator, but there's still a dual roam that is well established in this position, and these Gersmots have been more efficient than I've seen in a while. A triple kill so far for Panix. He's going for more. Can he find it? Spoken still downed. Safi's now the last attacker. He's coming up from behind, and a quad, I believe. Or no, yes. Yes, a 4K for Panix, I believe.
If Panix hadn't had the courtesy of leaving enemies downed Ying, that would have been an ace for him. So fantastic.
Yeah, a really good round there. An absolutely vicious roam from Safiz. I mean, again, the most efficient Gersmot usage I have seen in a long, long time. After her nerf, she really fell off. We're talking, of course, about Ella. And really good job there from Panix.
Now, they defended the laundry room downstairs, but it certainly did not feel that way. The entire fracas happened up top, in where the site would have been had they gone to the second floor. And just to clarify what I'd said earlier, just in case there's any raised eyebrows, enemy had downed the Ying with the C4. Panix left the Ying downed. If Panix just had finished the Ying off himself, then it would have been an ace.
Yeah,
that's what I was trying to say.
1 kill away.
1 kill away, and that was enemy who had downed him. And just a lot of times, teammates won't snipe the kill because, you know, it's not yours to take.
I mean, the truth of the matter is, honestly, that he should have killed the down player. He really should have, because it's information being gathered. The down player is always making comms, 100%, saying what he can see. You know, if the Ella is pushing into main west window, then he's right next to that Ella, he's going to be telling his teammate the whole time through. So it should have been an ace, but he was respectful. You know, his teammate Safiz put in work. Or enemy, excuse me, put in work.
We're trying to stray from being too critical of teams, but I have to wonder what is going on with this Mira strategy from Oplin. Usually, those are reversed. The reason for that is the Mira is where the open hole is, so that when you stand at the Mira, you can see the window and see the push that comes in, and then still have the cover of that mattress in the bunks. Now, you've got a Mira that will see just a sliver of that, and when you go to rotate through that hole, will be completely exposed to the big window.
So the only reason I can imagine the Mira is where it is, instead of, as you were saying, in the wall just to its left, is specifically because you're going to see a lot of attackers spray through the mattress, because bullets do go through that mattress that's lined up against next to the window, and that mirror window, that reinforcement positioning, will deny that spray. But at the same time, that's kind of like, you know, it's a random thing that attackers do to hopefully get a kill. You could just not stand in that spot. Ooh, bad timing from Panics and an opportunity missed. Now that mirror window will heavily aid the Jaeger who's playing it.
There's a second there, though. An enemy will be able to get inside a kitchen. That was the Mira, so it will be a joint push. The Jaeger will likely have to reveal himself, and will Panics be able to win the duel? No, but Sneaky does. Michi manages to get the final blow, but that was, it seemed like the smoke of a prox from above, dealing most of that damage as Panics falls inside of the kitchen. Still a very worthwhile trade. The Mira and the Jaeger gone, and all you've lost is the Sophia. Disruption off the board, as also we see our first defense upstairs of the day.
Oh, yeah. No, that's kind of interesting. I mean, we haven't seen much defense of the top, despite that last round being so top-heavy.
Right.
Now, Ravon, out on the west window, a prox, throwing his life away, and then followed up by Michi, also gifting himself to the enemy. Some interesting decision-making made by Oplon there. That's going to leave Spoken out as the last remaining defender, and he's going to have to retake from the main lobby. Now, this is a really difficult angle to win, but he does manage to do it. Enemy goes down, so well done to Spoken. On the long angle, though, I believe that Sneaky with the ACOG is going to have a distinct advantage at this range. Spoken wins that one as well. He only needs to find 2 more. Now, the diffuser has been planted, so he's only got about 40 seconds left to retake onto the site. And he's going to have to do it against Ravon and Voy, who have been playing very well so far.
And Mocket isn't bothering to pick up enemy right now. They know that it's more important to just simply stand and wait and guard that diffuser. And guard it they will. They have the Mira, which was placed just by the bunks, available. That's Ravon standing there watching. He spies him. The call-out will go that he is at the top of White Stairs, waiting to see who will be able to make the push. Voy is quite far out, but he has the ACOG angle. Spoken is very close to a retake, as at any moment, enemy will bleed out. Can Spoken get the clutch for Oplin? He sees the thermite for just a second. He's running out of time.
Doesn't have time.
He does not have time. Voy will manage to take him out as Spoken, a victim of the clock, and Mocket now moves to match point in what has been one of the most brisk matches we have had this entire season.
You know, it's really a shame. Spoken only had 45 seconds total starting from Meeting Hall. He was in Meeting Hall when that timer began, and he's a 3-speed, but he started to tear that attack apart. Only 1 player shy of a clutch. But I mean, his team put him in a bad position. Mocket was so in the advantage there that even if Spoken had a teammate left, it could have still easily been a Mocket win.
He had a great individual effort there.
Yeah.
And Oplin right now 1 round away from having to defend their title of being a Pro League team in relegations. For those that don't understand how relegations work, since we've been speaking about it all week, just a bit of a brief primer. At the end of every single season, the 2 lowest performing or lowest placing teams in Pro League, that's teams that finish 7th and 8th, need to defend their spots in Pro League, competing against the region's 1st and 2nd place finishers Challenger League. It allows a potential for new blood to come in. So the team who loses this will, in a couple weeks' time, have to square off against either the 1st or 2nd place team in the EU Challenger League, and the winner of that matchup will get invited to Pro League. It could potentially be either Mocket or Oplin, depending on what happens here, but with how competitive EU Challenger League is, you don't want to rely on having to go to relegations and winning that 1 match.
I want to say it was Mocket also last season who fought their way into this season via relegation. So they're really proving to, I guess, everybody that they earned it. And they certainly, I mean, Oplon struggling a lot more than I think most people would expect.
If I remember, Mocket, who were then known as Vitality, were 3rd in Europe. They faced the 1st place Room Factory and defeated Room Factory to make it in. The reason why 2 Challenger League teams competed against each other is because of reasons.
Reasons.
Now, round number 6 underway. Match point in favor of Mocket Esports, one of the newest orgs to grace us in Rainbow Six, and a team that competed under the banner of Vitality at the Invitationals. They're going to have to hold on for defense, and right now, not really much of a use in referencing how many attacks and defenses have been won, just simply because it has been a 5-1 and is now currently a 4-1.
Yeah, we're looking at yet another 5-1 here, a 10-2 total for Mocket, as they are on point right this minute, and Oplan, on the other hand, are struggling quite a bit. The only round that Mocket has lost here was the defense of the kitchen. Now, Jock will get panics, so that is a player who has seen pretty good use on Ella, already eliminated, and you have a lot of Mocket HP lost. Void, Ravon, and Sneaky all lit up. Enemy, the only remaining defender on full HP.
And this is Oplan being patient. There's been a lot of damage done to a variety of operators right now. There's only 4 of the 10 that have full health across both teams. Oplan has used about half of the clock now. Another EE1D will detect not a single defender as they go to push in, but unfortunately a team flash for the Lion will blind Spoken, who wasn't able to pull it through last round. Oplan will continue what has been a good start to round number 6, though, by taking out Voy. That was the Mira, who was on very low HP too. Not much there left. Revan from above, able to take out the buck of Michi, playing just by Closet. As you can see, those XKros will get the Closet quite successfully, and now they'll have an avenue into the site, providing that Revan and enemy don't choke it off.
Revan's trying to challenge the angle, but he's got 2 attackers, and he's been detected by the EE1D. So through the wall, he will be detected and pre-fired. Spoken, a double kill. Ravon and enemy go down. It's all Sneaky to try and get this 5-1, but it's not looking good as he's on half HP. Now, 3 attackers are also very lit up, and they only have 30 seconds to make this push, but he's going to have to do something spectacular here from the Big Kids dorms to make it work.
He has the Legion Mines available for him. Most stacked up, though, on A, where it's going to be a B push. The problem is that in order for Sneaky to make a push himself, he'll have to get down. He sees the Lion, he'll take out 1, waits for the Ash. Sneaky just needs 2 more. He could clutch this for his team and give Mocket the victory, but the diffuser off in the background will be his biggest stumbling block. Both Jacques and Sophies are still enduring. Claymore goes down inside of Closet. Can he get to that diffuser on time? In the sights of Sophies, should Sneaky push, and he's only 1 shot away. This should be a round that Oplan can hang on to and prolong this matchup. He sees the Zofia of Jacques and will be heavily concussed, and he's running out of time. He's about to hit the 1/4 mark. They just need to play total defense. And Sneaky, completely out of time. He hits the Claymore. Jacques will get that kill, credited, as it actually looked like he hit him a couple times directly with those concussive blasts of the Lifeline.
Yeah, he absolutely did, and that's going to delay quite a lot. When it's in the post-plant situation, no matter what, if you're hitting your utility like that on attack, you'll delay things. So, good job there from Oplan. They will get another round, this time not onto a funky site, but in fact onto the defense of the top floor, so props to them. It looked like a little bit of a hiccup there, though, from the Oplan attack. You saw Spoken and a Prox start rushing, frag chasing to get that final kill, and you really just need to, that's the only reason Sneaky had any chance in that round. He just wanted those guys to pull back, play the diffuser, and wait it out.
Why is your Lion pushing up to big window when you know there's only 1 defender left? What is the purpose for that? There's no way to attack what angle? Are you going to try to go for a pinch? Just simply wait. They might not have known where Sneaky was. That's okay, but still surprised a little bit that they made that push. Could have simply just been that maybe they knew that the Lion at that point with 0 EE1Ds could have just rushed, and then when he got killed, they could have given away Sneaky's position and been like, all right, we know where he is now. You might as well just go die for the team.
It's all beside the point, really. On the context of them being operators with no gadgets whatsoever, with guns and life, they really should have just backed off and played the diffuser. It doesn't matter. They won the round. That's the important thing. But Oplan getting a little bit ahead of themselves. They have to remember that they're the ones on the back foot, and they need to start playing these rounds as safe as possible. So they will have Spoken roaming over by Cafeteria and Kitchen. Now, I think we've seen him do this a number of times with Vigil, and it has not been successful at all, if I recall correctly. He does have Sophies on Bandit instead of Mute now. It's actually... I think Michi who's taken up that mute role.
Yeah, I was going to say, Sophies, you've been putting him on the MP7, and Spoken has been playing just inside a dining hall. He was the one that almost clutched the round 2 ago.
Yes.
We've seen of the 4 defenses for Oplon, 3 of them have gone down to laundry. None of the, or well, 2 of them rather, have been unsuccessful. We don't know if we can say all of them because that will depend on what the conclusion of round number 7 is.
But these roams over by kitchen and cafeteria every time for Oplon have been completely defunct. They have been pushed all the way back, and at times in previous rounds, they've lost a lot of players in the process of falling back. And this time, luckily, Oplon will sensibly fall off without directly engaging any of the Market Esports players. They have lit up Sneaky, that's the Blackbeard, so that's a very important operator to have on low HP. Good job to Oplon.
Surprising that there's nobody playing at the top of White Stairs. That's usually going to be someplace up there that you're going to want to defend on, regardless of whether you're defending the second floor or the basement. But they have gone quite heavy on that second floor. And they're having, right now, Market is having some difficulties being able to drone them out and getting a kill or 2. They really cannot begin to attack the basement until they get the roamers upstairs. Meanwhile, Spoken takes out Sneaky. The Blackbeard had been heavily damaged earlier on, but a Prox takes out Spoken. That is not supposed to happen. We saw a variety of team kills in Latin America today. It's about time that it shows up for EU as well.
Pushing into that closet, Panics is going to get into Generator. Nobody holding it. Safi's eliminated easily from behind. You can see there's still 2 roamers up top, and the EE1D is going to force them to stand still. Prox and I believe Michi, the 2 guys holding out against this Market onslaught. Panic's trying to address that armory by flashing in through the door. I believe that's a Prox who's holding in there. More flashes. Michi gets Ravon, who is pushing into Big Kid's dorms. The Legion Trap slowing this down, but Panics will get the kill. Now Michi still alive upstairs. Mocket's gonna have to turn around, and oh, what is happening? Michi from above using the angles pre-opened enemy, not paying attention. And while there's still 1 defender upstairs, it seems like Mocket, on an even man count, is gonna choose to simply address the site.
They know that the mute has to come back to site, and he has no open hatches, and Voy is waiting for him. That's going to leave Jacques as the last member of Oplon to hold against 2. He can deny the defuse in the next 15 seconds or just simply get 2 kills, and he's going to get very aggressive. He peeks completely up the stairs, and they'll go for a push through B. They have control of site. It's Jacques now who is crouch walking his way through Meeting Hall, and Panics will have to go for the plant. He'll commit inside of B site, and Mira drops. Can they get her in time? She'll get lit up by Voy, and Mocket will win. They'll go against Millennium in at least 2 weeks' time. Oplon will fight for their lives in Pro League. In relegations, we won't be seeing them for the rest of the season.
You really got to question the decision-making there by the Mira, choosing to rotate off of a double Mira setup when all that Mira needed to do was just play on either one. Where's the push coming from? Okay, go to that Mira window, you're good. But I mean, could have been the same outcome no matter what. It could have easily gone in favor of Mocket in the end, regardless.
So Mocket having as good of a day as it appeared that Battle Eye was throughout the course of our 2 matches.
Yay.
And they will take it a 2-0. So who would have thought that the Penta Millennium matchup would have been a tighter contest? Because going into this, I definitely thought that Mocket Oplon would have gone the distance and at least to 1 round of overtime. But hey, Mocket showing that they picked up a new team, and it wasn't a bad idea. They invested correctly.
The play from Mocket was superb today. I like the fact that they tried to do different things. It's too bad it didn't work out for them. Overall, though, their strategy, their execution was very tight. It was very calculated, and they never got ahead of themselves. That's one thing in particular I noticed about Mocket is they maybe had 1 or 2 rounds max where they were jumping the gun and doing things the way they shouldn't be doing them. They were very consolidated and strategic throughout the entire match, and props to them for that all the way up into the end.
That just for me, the biggest focus was that Mocket was able to get into the building without much of a challenge. And that's something that if I'm the roamers, or I guess, you know, the defenders that have to deal with the entry, for Oplon.
We saw Oplon try to contest outside.
Right.
They tried it. They ultimately failed.
Didn't work.
But they put in the effort to get that done.
So Oplon said that they were going to approach today with some changes. They were not successful changes. Mocket will fight Millennium. And that is it for us, for the EU, and for this week. We will return next Monday for Group B, the 4th Playday for North America. On behalf of all of our talent here, our production, ESL, Ubisoft, and Rainbow Six, thank you so much for watching. We will see you in a couple days.
Bye-bye.